This is not a test. This is reality.
It's the weekend, and we are going beyond the strange with host Dave Cruz on Spaced Out Saturday Nights.
Dave's the killer! Yeah! Dave's the killer! Dave's a mess.
When the clocks, they never stop, they barricade my face.
You can follow Dave on Twitter at StrangeDave70. Hit him up on Skype, Strange Days 2015. And you can follow Dave on our website, spacedoutradio.com.
Things are prey. I push until I break. I feel them start to scrape. The core of all I am is chiseling away. And every speck of life is gonna rot away in time. We turn to mud or turn to stone, it's a grand design. A maze of petrified hearts and I'm lost inside. We all self-destruct, love is to deny. And that is life.
The probability is low, but the discoveries of the Kepler mission suggest that there are billions of habitable planets in our galaxy alone. And there are at least 100 billion galaxies in the visible universe. So it seems likely that there are others out there.
Now, get your tinfoil hats on tight as Spaced Out Saturday with Dave Cruz begins right now.
You're here to turn me inside out and then turn me away. For all my life I choke on clouds of savior smoke until my blackened soul was burning away. And every speck of life is gonna rot away in time. We turn to mud or turn to stone, it's a grand design. A maze of petrified hearts and I'm lost inside. We all self-destruct and love is to deny.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Hola. Good evening. How y'all doing? Man, that was a weird glitch. Thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And welcome to Spaced Out Saturday Night. I am your host, Dave Cruz. Nice to be here. And yeah, we had a little bit of a glitch there for a second, but it's all fixed and it's all good. So we should be coming in loud and clear. Thank you all for joining us. If you are on the East Coast, it is Sunday, October 22nd. But if you're still hanging out on the Pacific side, the west side, if you will, October 21st. And we are live from Napa Valley Wine Country, just outside the mystical Sonoma Mountains. So let's welcome in everyone listening on our terrestrial stations, WQEE Rock 99 Rock, the Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of the Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 160 countries around the world. You can also listen to us live on spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker.com, KTLK, TheFringe.fm, Renegade Talk Radio, the High Plains Radio Network. And remember, you can like our music, then then you can rock with us with Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, formerly of Guns N' Roses, currently of Art of Anarchy. Bumblefoot is the official sound of the mighty SOR. Also, you can check us out on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. The hashtag is Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. I see a few of you guys are hanging out in the Space Travelers, SOR Space Travelers Facebook page. That's awesome. Welcome, everyone. And remember to give everything a like, Spaced Out Radio Show on Instagram. You can follow me at StrangeDave70. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. And tune in on TuneIn. You can download our shows from iTunes as well. We are also on Radio Guide FM, TalkStream Live, and on Stitcher. And, of course, our website is www.spacedoutradio.com. And if you go to patreon.com for as low as $1 a month, you can become a patron of Spaced Out Radio. If you want to take part in the show, please sign into one of our chat rooms on our website at Spreaker.com, the UPRN chat room, and on Facebook at SOR Space Travelers Club Facebook page. Or if you're on Twitter, just go to the hashtag Spaced Out Radio. And I'll try to get to your questions as quickly as possible, all your comments in all those chat rooms and in Twitter as soon as I can. All right. If you head over to our website, for just $5 a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. And as of right now, you can go to the Spaced Out Radio store, pick up a t-shirt, poster, or an SOR sticker. We have the Encounter online that deals with everything paranormal, courtesy of our editors, Eric Markham and Everett Thiemer. You can check out Dave Scott's latest blog there as well. And if you had an experience you can't explain, fill out an SOR Sightlines report. Tim Doyle from UFO Seekers and Leslie Mitchell Clark's Contact TV also have some great video viewing as well. Sheila Renee Parker, an expert on all things paranormal. Sheila's blog and popular speaking engagements delve deeply into the power of the mind and spirit. Sheila is followed by thousands of people eager to hear her words about the mostly undiscovered world of spirits, ghosts, and gifts, and being open to the unknown. Sheila is the author of the novel The Spirit Within and is an internationally acclaimed poet. Sheila's latest release, The Spirit Within, is an intoxicating story of a betrayed love with a unique supernatural twist. For more details about Sheila, you'd like to go to https://SheilaRparker.wordpress.com. So everyone, please put your hands together and help me welcome Miss Sheila Renee Parker. Sheila, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for having me back on your show. I'm really excited.
It is a pleasure to have you on the show, Sheila. I am so glad you were here tonight. And, you know, it's definitely starting to feel like Halloween now.
Oh, I know, right? My favorite time of year.
It really is. And, yeah, it's really been a bad last few weeks with everything going on, from all of the weird, crazy weather to, you know, the horrible shooting in Las Vegas. And now we had the wildfires that were threatening me and my family as well. Luckily, that's been contained. It's almost contained 90%. So that's really... Thank
goodness.
Oh, man. Believe me, it's
right.
It was touch and go there for a minute. So that's literally, it was touch and go. I mean, we had everything ready, I mean, at a moment's notice to just bug out and take off if we had to. So,
but you guys are all okay now, though.
We are good. Thank you very much for asking. And yes,
good.
We are almost back to normal. But you know, like I said, it just seems like this week it started sinking in. The temperature started going down a little bit. We started getting a little bit of that fall air, and now it's starting to feel like Halloween, and I love it.
Oh, me too, definitely. And I'm glad you guys are okay and everything, because that's some pretty scary times right there, what you were going through. So I'm glad you guys are good. that's a blessing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So, Sheila, let me ask you, I mean, you've been on my show before on Beyond Strange, and that was a wonderful talk. It's been way too long since then. And so,
Yes,
you know, we'll definitely catch up. But, you know, for the audience tonight, can we get a little bit of your background? I mean, you know, when did you know that you were an empath, and how did this start for you? Take us back to, you know, when you were young or younger.
Yeah, well, like you said, it has been too long since we've chatted. Lots of things have happened since then and everything, and I enjoyed the last time we were on the show together. And, but, you know, as far as like my abilities and everything go, you know, as far as like being an empath, you know, like I was telling you before, that all was something that I had to deal with, you know, all throughout my childhood. I didn't know what the ability was and everything, you know. Scary enough as it was, you know, I didn't realize what being an empath was until I was an adult. And because all throughout my, you know, my childhood years, I always thought I was kind of somewhat of a basket case. And the more and more that I'm open about this ability, the more and more stories that are like mine, as far as, you know, people when they were younger, they felt the same way, as far as, you know, having their abilities, not knowing what they were, you know, with this. And it was pretty scary, you know, when I was a kid, because I could go into a room and it would be really, really just, I mean, kind of like a muddle of, you know, emotions, mixed emotions, because it would be so many different feelings and stuff. And I didn't know what they were when I was a kid, because I started to think they were my own emotions. Because, like, for instance, I would be in one room, being a kid, playing with my toys and whatever, being fine. And then, you know, get up and go into the next room, and it would be like a light switch, the emotions I'd pick up from other people. And throughout my years, people would joke with me. They would say, oh, Sheila, you need to be on medication, what have you, you know, because, you know, your emotions change all the time. I just didn't realize it until probably, 10, 15 years ago, that this was actually an ability. I was talking to one lady one time, and she brought that to my attention, and we were talking. And she goes, do you know you have an ability? And I said, do what? And she goes, you have an ability. And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, think about it. And she started talking to me really deeply on the subject, and it just opened things up for me. And I started putting two and two together. And I started doing my own research and everything with, you know, with what I had. And for years, I thought I was the only one going through that. You know, with a lot of empaths that I've talked to, they've all said the same thing. They're like, I thought I was the only one. I'm like, no, you're not the only one. There are so many empaths out there, and there are so many people that don't even realize that they have the ability. A lot of people think they're just crazy. And because they just don't know how to cope or, you know, embrace. I use the word embrace now, you know, the ability, but before it was a curse. But now I embrace the ability, because I know how to, you know, I hate to say it, but I know how to turn it off if I have to. And I know how to protect myself from other people's mixed emotions. I know how to protect myself, you know, from the negativity and stuff like that, because it's easy to get wrapped up with other negative energies and stuff. But once I learned how to, you know, protect myself, it did a world of difference for me. So, you know, I mean, the older I get, the more of a gift it is for me that I embrace, and I'm proud to have it.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's interesting that you say that you have the ability to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Most people I've come across since I've been doing this have said that they don't have that ability.
I've actually been called cold-hearted because of it. I really, really have.
Sorry,
People
I don't
like,
mean
you
to
are
laugh,
so
but,
cold-hearted.
man.
No, that's the truth. And I've actually been called a few cuss words that would, you know, be very, you know, colorful to describe me too. They're like, you are such a cold-hearted person sometimes. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not cold-hearted at all. I'm one of the biggest, you know, heart-caring people ever. But if I find myself in a situation where there's a lot of negative energy, I will completely shut it off just like a light switch, and just completely be void of it and walk off into the next room, because I'm, you know, being an empath, or anybody for that matter, you have to realize, you know, that there is a time when it's okay to say no. And that's okay. You know, it's hard to get to that point, but once you've finally gotten to that point, it's easier.
You know, that's, I think it's great that everyone is tuning in tonight, because a lot of people are in touch with their empath, if you will, abilities. They're empathic. I learned I was empathic not too long ago, and mainly with dealing with spirits, and that's something that I would have never known if I hadn't started delving into this genre, if you will, this community, and speaking with people like you and Vanessa Hogel and other people that I've interviewed and talked to and made friendships with. I see right now in Facebook, at the SOR Space Travelers page, Vivian is talking about how she, like I said earlier, wasn't able to turn off her abilities. And she, I'm sure she would love to learn how to do that. We can definitely talk about that. Or if you like, we can talk about that now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it took me a really long time to be able to even differentiate my own emotions and, things like that from other people, because for years I got mixed up with my own with theirs and thought they were my own. And, but I don't know, I did a lot of, like self-searching, if you will, for lack of a better term. And, I'm really big into speaking with my spirit guides, and I learned how to, use white light protection and things like that to help, channel my own energies and to keep them protected. And when I say that I know how to shut my ability off, that just basically means that I know how to put a barrier, if you will, against all of the other emotions and, other energies and stuff like that. Because, like, for instance, if you go into a very heavily crowded place, and Dave, as being an empath, you pick up on all of the energy, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. And so if I know I'm going to go into a place like that, I can't help it. Sometimes I do start feeling a little anxious, but I just start, I start envisioning myself being surrounded with like all this white light protection, and that just kind of helps bubble, if you will, and keeps things away from me and everything. And like I said, I speak with my spirit guides and everything, and that's been really amazing too, as far as helping me with that. Another form that has helped me is meditation, and I strongly recommend that with everybody, to meditate and to find your place of peace. And if you can find that place of peace within yourself, then that can actually help you, just keep yourself guarded. And, it's okay to do that, because, it's so easy with all the negative energies that go on out there. And like you were saying, with all the, the crazy events that, have been, lately going on and everything, it's easy to get wrapped up into all of that. And with the energy vampires and stuff out there that can like suck you down and, just drain you. Right. And, you've got to protect yourself from that. You have to learn how to be able to just to say no, and, verbally and metaphorically speaking, because it's very important to, one's individual health to be able to do that, because things can become extremely toxic if you let it go beyond, to beyond a crazy level, and it's just not good.
So I remember when we talked last, there was a question that I asked you, and I believe you answered it and I always get it wrong, but, are all psychics empaths? And I believe you said all psychics are empaths, but not all empaths are psychic?
I might have said that. I'm not really sure. I'm not necessarily remembering that, to be honest with you.
Okay. Does that sound
okay? No.
I might have gotten wrong.
No. You could have, honestly, Dave. My mind's not very sharp sometimes. My memory's not the best sometimes.
I know how that feels.
But I have to remind myself to pick up milk on the way home with a sticky note stuck to my dashboard. But, I don't necessarily, I wouldn't say, okay, I'm an empath. Do I have the psychic abilities as far as like pinpointing, like, okay, I know psychics, and some people might say that all psychics are empaths, or, or vice versa, whatever. I don't consider myself as a psychic to the extent to where I would sit there and say, oh, I can tell you what's going to happen tomorrow at 10 a.m., in the middle of, Times Square. I can't do that. I know some psychics that proclaim to do that. I can't do that. I don't have that ability, nor do I want that ability. If I get a premonition that comes up, yes, that does happen. But can I foresee something just at will? I cannot do that. Again, if I get a premonition that does come up, yes, I've got that. I embrace it, and those do happen quite frequently. But to be able to have that ability to where I can just look at you and say, oh, I can tell you everything that's happened to you in your past, I can't do that. I don't have that ability. So that's not my case for me. But I do know other people that are empathic, that are psychic, that can, look at you and pretty much tell you what you're thinking and, what's your favorite song. Everybody, like I think I told you before, like we were discussing, everybody with our abilities and all, we're all different. We have different levels of our abilities. We, like I keep telling people, it's crazy, but it's like, there are no two snowflakes alike. There are no two empaths alike or anyone else with abilities. We all have different ways and, that we use it and everything. So, like my husband, he can see, spirits and everything, but he's not necessarily, he's empathic to an extent, but not to my extent, if that makes sense. And I can't see, the energies that he can see, visually and stuff like that. So, he and I are good examples that, we have our abilities, but we're totally different.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. And again, like I've never actually been able to see spirits or ghosts or whatever you want to call them, energy beings, that sort of thing. I hear all the time people tell me, yeah, I saw a ghost, or I saw an extraterrestrial or a shadow person or something, right? And I'm like, I've never seen one, but I've never ruled it out. I've always said to myself, well, who am I to say, you saw this or you saw that? But I know, and I know what I know. And I think, those people know what they know. So when it's in conversation mode, it can get cray-cray. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, for someone to, poo-poo on what I'm saying, it's like, hey, you don't know what I've been through, or you don't know what I've seen or feel. So
exactly.
It's to me, it's pretty, it's just like you said, no two snowflakes are the same.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you made a very valid point, because, I can't say what someone else has gone through or what they're seeing, because for me to speak on their behalf without me even knowing, that's wrong. And I wouldn't want someone else to do the same for me because they don't know, and that kind of goes like towards skeptics, because, I do believe skepticism is healthy. A good bit of it, but a lot of skeptics out there, they try to automatically shut us down, say, oh, you don't know what you're doing, da-da-da-da-da. Well, how can they truly say that,
Right.
until they've seen or they've been in the situation? I've seen many, many skeptics actually become believers because of, of an, experience or something like that. So, it's, it's an open book out there.
Yep. I agree. So, when we talk about spirits and energy beings and that sort of thing, you say your husband can see them, but he's not at your level as far as empathic, right?
Well, it's not like, I don't want it to sound like, karate belts or anything like that, getting different levels of color and stuff like that. But, because I openly embrace my abilities, where I'm not saying that he doesn't, but he doesn't really talk about it. He wouldn't go to work and say, oh, I saw so-and-so or something like that.
Right.
Where I go to work and I'm like, I just open my mouth. I don't care who hears me, because, I don't have anything to hide. People are like, Sheila, you are too open. I'm like, no, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. But my husband, he sees them as energy. He can see their colors, and it's interesting. Like, here's okay, we used to live in Tennessee, and there's a place up there in West Tennessee called Pinson Mounds. And for anyone who loves the Native American, history and everything, you should go up there and check it out, because it's a phenomenal place. But when we used to live in Tennessee, we used to go up there and we would ride our bikes, because they have wonderful bike trails back there. And just lots of nature things, And this the site is thousands and thousands of years old. There's even like a museum there that shows you, beautiful relics and stuff like that. But anyway, my husband, we can be going down like the bike trails and stuff like that, and he would turn to me and he's like, Sheila, you see that over there in the open field? It would be one of the marked land sites. And I said, no, what are you talking about? He said, I can see orbs. And he could see the color of like, okay, and because, he would see like their coloration and stuff, and he goes, it's just amazing. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking, I'm darting my head around, like, what are you looking at? I want to see it too. And he's like, Sheila, it's a field, and I could see them just dancing around. And I said, man, and I'm like, tell me details. I want to know what they look like. He goes, no, it's like balls of energy, and not like small orbs or anything. But he says it's just energy. He says it's really interesting. And then he's not scared by it or anything, and we would just continue to ride our bikes on through, and that would be it. And and another time we used to live in an apartment years ago, and our laundry room, of all places, when there was no other source of light or anything, because how apartments are, like the laundry room would be in the center of the place, no windows or anything like that. He would come in and he's like, Sheila, he goes, there's a spirit in our laundry room right now. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, it's purple. And I mean, sometimes you would see red, energy balls or anything like that. And of course, I'm the kind of person I'm going to go investigate, because I am a paranormal believer because I've had my own experiences,
right.
But I'm also a bit of a skeptic because I want to know, there's a scientific behind, things too.
Oh yeah.
But,
absolutely.
and I go and look, yeah. And he sees, and I've always found that to be extremely fascinating. I'm like, wow, you can see these things. He said, yeah, you can't? I'm like, no. And my husband can look at somebody and see their auras. And I'm like, really? He said, yeah, he goes, I can see somebody's, colored aura, just easily. And I'm like, man, I wish I could do all that and all. But yeah, so, I can't do certain things to where, it's just he and I are so different as far as our abilities go. It's pretty cool, though, just to talk to him about it sometimes. Because when we go to an old place, I'm like, are you picking up anything? Did you see something? He's like, no, Sheila, shut up, Sheila. And I'm like, I'm just wanting to learn because it's fun, but I don't know. I think it's really cool.
Have you been able to pick up on other things besides emotions and feelings and that kind of thing? You mentioned that you can't see a person's past, but right. What about as far as picking up someone, like being able to tell if they're telling the truth or not?
Oh yeah, easily. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, because it's just, it's hard to explain, but I can definitely tell if somebody's like, trying to mess with me or something.
Right.
Very easily. Yeah. And when I was younger, I couldn't. But now that I'm older and stuff like that, because when I was younger, it was just scary. But now that I'm older, yeah, I can definitely do that. And what's really sad, though, is because of all of that and everything, it's developed some trust issues as I've gotten older, because I can see people, I can see them for who they are before they even really start talking to me. And, and it's funny, though, because how many people try to get over on other people. I'm like, you can't do that to me. You don't even know me. You can't, and I catch them and stuff. And I just, I don't know, it's interesting.
That's cool, because that's the thing is I don't want to try to call people on their stuff, mm-hmm. But I've always felt like I've had that ability to be like, mm-hmm. You're not telling me the truth. I can feel it. I can sense it. And mm-hmm. it's not mm-hmm. because, I know a lot of people, they read body language or, they check if they're sweating or whatever. It doesn't even have to be
eye contact.
Like yeah, eye contact.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff is important, of course. Mm-hmm. But it's just something like, it's just like, I had that feeling, I just had that feeling. Mm-hmm. And, mm-hmm. and the other thing is what about like, I don't want to say, because this is getting into psychic medium territory, but what about mm-hmm. like, you're sitting in your car, you've been humming this tune all, for like the last 5-10 minutes. Next thing you know, bam, it shows up on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had that happen?
What, like a song or something that you really like?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what, oh, definitely. That actually happens to me a lot. And, it's funny, though, because I'll be thinking of a song or a lyric, and then all of a sudden, like you said, it's like, bam. And I'm like, holy cow. who put that on there? Is somebody listening to me? Because yeah, and it's fun. It's fun. I actually have fun with that. To me, that's kind of like a little game in my own little mind, So yeah, that happens to me a lot. Or something, about TV. I'll be like talking about a show or something that I haven't seen in years, and then all of a sudden it comes on, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Yeah, that's fun. To me, I don't know. That's like a little game for me. I think that things like that. I don't know why. I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's interesting. The paranormal it's always been around my life. But it's like I've never really made sense of it up until like probably the last 5 years.
Right. And I think as
please go ahead.
We get I was just going to say, as we get older, we start to understand more and everything. And if you're willing to be open-minded enough, things become so much easier to accept. And like you're saying, the paranormal has always been a part of my life. I don't find any fear in it anymore, and it's so common for me, as far as things like that go. I can't imagine life without it. I know it sounds weird, but that's just how it is,
Well, you're used to it, and it's nice because then things aren't as boring.
Yeah, I know, right? I agree. Oh, it's crazy. I can't imagine any other way.
And I mean, I don't know about you, but I still feel that I can kind of sense like past people who have passed on. Do you ever?
Definitely.
Do you get that too, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, like I was saying, I can't necessarily see the spirits or anything like that, but I can feel energies and stuff like that. I can feel, just like you're saying. I mean, I don't feel scared or anything like that. When I was younger, I did. I always felt terrified on certain things like that. But people, I know this is going to sound corny, but as many spirits, like the dead people that have, happened throughout the millennium, plus. I mean, there's so many ghosts and spirits there, if you will. I mean, not all of them have passed on. So does that mean every house on the whole planet is haunted? No, it doesn't mean that. But, ghosts are, transient. I mean, they move from, one place to another place and stuff like that. There are so many spirits around us, what I believe and what I've been told and everything. I mean, of course it's going to be easy to pick up on the energy, for, somebody that's sensitive, like you and me, like that are empaths and stuff. And it's easy for me to pick up on their energies, and I'm not frightened by it anymore. And that doesn't mean that I feel them 100% of the time, like at maximum level of energy. But, I mean, I know they're there. And, I've always said, if you're going to try to communicate with me, just, leave me alone when I'm in my bedroom. Don't come try and talk to me or anything like that. But just, just respect, and I respect them as well. But, yeah, I know they're there. I definitely do.
That's really cool. We are getting some questions already in the Facebook SOR Space Travelers chat, and Vivian has actually a couple of questions. One, she has asked or mentioned, has her husband seen really big orbs? I did once in my second ex-husband's hospital room.
Wow,
that's interesting. And
right.
So I'm guessing that your husband have seen really big orbs?
Well, he hasn't just described them as like hugely different sizes or anything, but he says that they're just balls of energy. He's never just gone into detail as far as like the sizes go. He sees them more so as just colors. And the way that he's always described them to me would be, I mean, I'm sitting here holding my hands up trying to show you. It's kind of silly because you can't see me, but it's like, I don't know, if you were to get like, like a dodgeball would be. Okay, something like that, but maybe a little bit smaller. I mean, it's just, and it varies. It could be like even smaller than that. It's not that my husband sees them all the time, but when he does see them, sometimes he doesn't tell me. I've caught him, and I'm like, why don't you tell me these things? He's like, I don't want to scare you. I'm like, you know me better than that. And because I'm really inquisitive about learning things. Maybe he just doesn't want to tell me because, he doesn't want to ask him a million questions because I just find it fascinating. But, it's pretty interesting, though, because, I mean, he's seen them and stuff. And in our house that we live in right now, he's never come forward to saying that he's seen an orb here, but he's seen a silhouette before, like a presence, like when we first moved in our house here.
Right.
It's an older house, and we've had to do a lot of renovations to it, painting and stuff. And he's seen the presence here before, and nothing that malevolent or anything like that. But I think it was just somebody that was just passing through, that was just curious, and maybe stopped to say, "Hey, what are you doing?" Because I think that they get curious. They want to know what we're doing. Because if they're stuck here or wherever, that they're going to want, I don't know, just whatever reasons that they are, and they're just curious. I think just like we are with them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that kind of segues into my next question from the Facebook chat is, have you been able to feel or sense evil around you so you can be prepared?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When I feel negative energy, especially like really heavy amounts, I start getting this really nauseating, like a feeling in the core of my body, like in my abdominal area. It's really kind of weird. And I start getting nauseous, like really, really bad, like I want to throw up. And when it gets to that level, I know it's pretty intense. Excuse me. And it can be really, really scary sometimes. So I automatically just start, that's when I'm in, situations like that, that's when I can actually shut myself down. And it's helped out tremendously because, you never know, what you're going to be in because, it can be a scary world out there. And, you have to learn techniques to protect yourself. But for me, if I feel any kind of negative energy or anything like that, I get a really strong sense of, like just nauseated feeling in the core of my body. And, I know that's negative energy because nothing else makes me feel like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you mean. Beyond the Omniverse in Spreaker chat is asking, who are your spiritual guides?
My spiritual guides, actually, I have one that I refer to, with every conversation that I ever have because I'm so proud of her. I refer to her as Mary. And I know she's always been there, and because I've always felt her presence, but did not actually try to communicate with her until, unfortunately, my father's passing, which happened back in 2010, just a little over 7 years ago. And, for anyone who's lost a parent out there, they know it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard, and I wouldn't wish that pain on anyone. But, when I lost my father, I went into this really, really dark place. It was scary, and, it was hard because, when you're a kid, even when you're an adult, you grow up, you think your parents are immortal. You want to think that. And when he passed on, it devastated me, and I prayed. Because I knew that the spirit guides were there, but I was sitting there praying. I said, please, I need you, and make your presence known. And I was like, what do you want me to call you? And for some weird reason, the name Mary just popped up immediately. And I got this really clean, crisp vision of her in my mind's eye. And she was beautiful. She had long, blonde, flowing hair. And I know a lot of people out there that, are skeptics are probably thinking I'm crazy right now and I should, go away, but that's honestly how I see her, and she's always there for me now, and I can always feel her presence. It's very warm, it's very loving, and it's almost like I don't know, when I talk about her and when I need her and everything, even though I know she's there all the time, it's just this warm, I hate to sound Hallmark about it, but it's like a warm, snuggly feeling, when I know she's definitely there when I definitely need her. And so I know Mary's there. When I was at a public speaking event, there were a couple of ladies there that saw white shimmers, for what they use as terminology, around me. And they said that they could see not many, but like several guides around me and everything. But the one and only one that I actually refer to by name is Mary. Even though I've been told that there are lots around me. I just, and like I said, I believe everybody's got spirit guides around them, whether or not they want to acknowledge them, but, it's kind of like having that intuition, that little feeling that tells you to turn left when you think you should turn right. And, I think it's them talking to us, it's just there to protect us and everything. But mine is Mary, though, and, I openly talked about her. I used to didn't because out of fear, but I don't care who listens to me now. You either, believe me or not. I know, like you were saying a little while ago, I know what I know.
Exactly. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with snuggly.
Well, I didn't want to sound like a Hallmark trading card or something like that.
I love snuggly. As a matter of fact, when you said that, I thought about, the Snuggle commercial with the bear.
The bear, yes, I love it. The little fabric softener sheets. Oh my God!
I'm like, oh,
right?
the bear.
Yeah. See. Now, if you got your spirit guide, you're going to think of the Snuggle Bear.
Well, I have to because he reminds me of my grandson. Or me and my wife's 2-month-old grandson, and I've just been going nuts over him, and she's probably gonna sock me one of these days because I'm just showing her the pictures too much. But no, she loves, she really does. We both do. We gush, and yeah, Snuggly's great. I love Snuggly. So that's awesome.
Congratulations on your grandson. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so, what is the white light that you are referring to?
Oh man!
And it says, "Are your guides this light external?" Beyond the Omniverse just comes out, with all all these questions all of a sudden. So, we can.
Oh, these questions are fantastic.
Oh, I know. I'm telling you. He's great.
Yeah.
He or she, I don't know exactly. So, BTL, you're gonna have to let me know. I'm pretty sure you're a dude, but I'm not sure. Anyways, so yeah, these the white light.
Right. Well, okay, the white light, if you talk to a lot of people out there, it's funny, though, because like I was saying earlier, the more open I come out, with my abilities and I'm talking more publicly about it, people come up to me and they start talking about things, and then I automatically, ask them from the very get-go, are you protecting yourself with white light? You have no idea how many people know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm like, wow. I mean, to me, it's amazing because I think we're actually breaching upon a time where, there's an awakening going on, and that's a whole other topic right there. And I think people are becoming more and more aware of what's going on around them, spiritually, religiously, however you want to say it. But no, the white light. Okay, this is how I can tell you for me how it works for me. Because I also work with candles and everything as well, and incense and stuff like that. Okay. And candles. Okay, imagine the flame of a candle. Okay, that's your white light. Just visually speaking, and envision it as it getting larger and larger and larger, circling around you, like in a form of like a cocoon where it's going to protect you and everything. And when you do that, you're allowing nothing but positive energy within your cocoon. And, therefore, negating everything that's negative to bounce off of your barrier. Right. And, that's what I say, when I tell people, protect yourself with white light. And, and you sometimes, or, I've actually spoken to people too that feel it from the inside of their body. Like when I was talking earlier about feeling negative energy, it's at the core of my body, and I try to push that out with the nausea and stuff like that. You can also envision that white light on the inside of you and just turning everything else, out, pushing it all out of your body, and the light getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it just encompasses you. And, just push out all that negative energy and allowing nothing but positive energy within that light. And, is it a visual light that you're walking around seeing these glowing people walking around? No, it's not like that. It's the one that you see with your mind's eye and that you create for your own self. And, you can ask your spirit guides for assistance with that and everything. And, it works for me, and, I know a lot of other people that use this method, and they say it works for them too. I've spoken to paranormal investigators that use that method when they, prior to going on, paranormal investigations and things like that. Mm-hmm. And, it's pretty effective. You have to believe, the key is to have to believe in the ability that it does exist. And you can't just sit there and say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to create it and it's not working. Well, that's because you're automatically throwing out negative vibes because you're not a believer.
Right.
And, with any ability, you have to truly and fully believe that it exists in order for it to work properly. And you have to believe in yourself because, therefore, you have the ability, So, it's based on all of that. That's what works for me.
That's cool. And, there was a question. I'm sorry. There was a question before BTO that came from John Tider was here. And just a reminder, we are going to be going to a break in less than 5 minutes. John asks, what are the orange orbs supposed to be? Reptilian. Do you know anything about reptilians?
Actually, I know very, very little, but there is supposed to be, I think, like a subspecies or something that's reptilians, like that they came from outer space or something, and they're here to, as humans. I mean, that's a whole other level of topic right there. But yeah, definitely, and that they are here as human form. So I'm not really sure about the orange orbs, though, as far as that's in reference to. I'm not sure about that one. I would love to learn more about it, though. I would definitely research that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, you're right about as far as reptilians go. I think it's, to me, and since I've been doing this, I feel like everything's connected. And,
oh yes,
so
100.
Like I've talked to people who believe that the extraterrestrials are actually interdimensional beings that come in and out of our dimension and they go back into their dimension, and that's why some people see the spacecraft, then it just disappears because they pop right out of our reality and go into theirs,
right?
And that's something that I feel that can be the same thing with spirits and ghosts.
Oh yes.
They do the same thing. It's possible that some are just from another timeline as well. I mean, there's so many possibilities. It's just amazing what I've learned in such a short time, and I think this is just it's all great stuff. I just think I eat it up. It's great.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. Definitely.
And God of Thunder in the hashtag Spaced Out Radio Twitterverse is asking, how can you be sure her spirit guide is who it says it is? That's a good question. Are there spirits or entities that pretend to be something else?
That is an excellent question, and really, that's very valid point right there, because you do have to, be aware that there are, I'm not going to use the word demonic per se, but there are darker entities that will do whatever they can to gain your trust. Kind of like, like a creeper, trying to gain the trust of a little girl by offering her candy.
Right.
It's the same thing, basically. That's why I tell people not to play with Ouija boards, because you do not know who you're talking to. And it's really scary, and I mean, that is a very valid point, because people have told me before, Sheila, you have a spirit guide. How do you really know that's who she is? And honestly, I could be wrong, one day, and I'm not saying anything bad about you, Mary, but one day, you never know. Something could, be negative. But being an empath, and I know other empaths out there will agree with me on this, you have to follow your gut instinct. And we know, I'm not going to say 100%, but I mean, I've been with her all my life, did not recognize who she was initially until, to my father's passing and everything. I have never picked up any negative energy from her at all. Nothing but pure love. And to me, and like we were talking earlier, can you tell whether or not somebody's lying? Yes, I can. Can I even, what is it, a wolf in lambskin or something, or, I can tell.
Yeah.
She's close. Yeah, absolutely. There you go. And, I can tell when there's some sort of a negative energy, even in the smallest amount, and that's a very good point, though. But I've never felt anything negative, and because when dealing with a Ouija board or anything else like that, I tell people not to deal with that because you never know who you're talking to. I've had an experience when I was 17 years old that I was playing on a Ouija board once, and it was a really bad experience. I automatically knew from the very beginning, even though the spirit claimed that they were trying to be nice, I could tell you that they were, their intentions weren't good.
I'll tell you what, Sheila, why don't we go ahead and just hang on right there? We have to go to a break.
Yeah, sure.
And when we come back, we'll pick up right where you left off. This is Spaced Out Radio, and I am your host tonight, Dave Cruz. We are speaking with Empath Extraordinaire, Sheila Renee Parker. Don't go away. We will be right back right after this.
Investigating UFO sightings, talking to alien abductees, and visiting secret military locations like Area 51. We're UFO Seekers, official partner of Spaced Out Radio. Follow our daily search for the truth at ufoseekers.com or like us on social media. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
From coast to coast to coast, Blacklight Uncharted is taking on the paranormal across Canada. From ghostly hauntings to the UFOs flying above in conjunction with MUFON Canada, we're closely investigating what's going on in the northern skies and checking out the apparitions that walk among us. Check out our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com. We want to know your thoughts, we want to hear your experiences, and we want you to share your stories. The answers are out there, and we intend to find them.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
It's paranormal news at its finest. Welcome to The Encounter. At spacedoutradio.com, The Encounter online is SOR's trusted news source for everything weird and strange going on around the world. This is news editor Eric Markham. Our team of journalists are scouring the planet for those strange stories that rarely make the mainstream. No fear-mongering or fake news here. Head over to spacedoutradio.com and encounter The Encounter.
Want to learn more about aliens, cover-ups, conspiracies, cryptids, and the paranormal? All you have to do is tune in S4 as we take over Spaced Out Radio Night, starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, each and every Saturday night, right after Spaced Out Saturdays. Hi there, this is Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. Join me, Corey Ruiz, and friends as we discuss the hot topics of the night. It's fun, entertaining, and as dark as the night. Find us at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from Your Poor Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
Have you had an experience you can't explain? Had a run-in with ghosts, maybe Bigfoot, or seen lights in the sky? Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt from the SOR Sightlines. I'm here to investigate your sighting. Head to spacedoutradio.com and fill out a report on the Sightlines. All your information is 100% confidential, and I will help you figure out what you've been seeing. File your report and let's find out the answers together.
Psychic Sundays, spiritual communication, ET contact, Sasquatch in your backyard. We will have it all on Cosmic Passport with me, Elizabeth Anglin. Each Sunday starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, at spacedoutradio.com, I will take you on a journey of enlightenment. The goal is learning from the soul on out. We'd love it if you joined our experience. Cosmic Passport, heard Sundays at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
From British Columbia to Northern California, Pacific North Weird has Cascadia covered. Check out our feature videos at spacedoutradio.com, where I, Vincent Zunza, and my super sleuth partner Alexandra Sullivan track down the weird and strange stories from around the Pacific Northwest, from Bigfoot to Mel's Hole and everything in between. This is what makes life exciting. So why report the normal when we can report the Pacific North Weird right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Now, back to Dave Cruz and SOR.
All right, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio Saturday nights. I'm your host tonight, Dave Cruz. Tomorrow night, Elizabeth Anglin has Psychic Sundays on Spaced Out Sundays Cosmic Passport, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at spacedoutradio.com. You can also listen to me, Dave Cruz, as I host Beyond the Strange Radio, Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Go to spacedoutradio.com/paranormal and click on the Beyond the Strange button for links and info to the show. We want to welcome back everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are also live on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. We are live on TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, and KTLK, thefringe.fm as well. Find us on TuneIn and iTunes for downloads, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. Head on over to the website for some great features from videos and UFO seekers and Contact TV. Shop at our store and pick up the t-shirts, posters, and stickers. And don't forget to rock out to our resident guitar god, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and who is the official music of the mighty SOR. Once again, I just want to thank our guests for being here again tonight, Miss Sheila Renee Parker. Sheila, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome, Dave. Again, thank you so much for having me back. It's awesome.
It's a pleasure, and it's been a great show. I mean, hour just whizzed by. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it did.
I
know, right?
It's and I know that the rest of the shows is going to be the same way. So we got to get into some good questions and some excellent comments out there. I'm reading in the Spreaker chat and Facebook chat. And, we have the hashtag Spaced Out Radio in the Twitterverse. God of Thunder, who's always out there asking the great questions and comments. And we got, BTO and Spreaker chat and a lot of people in there in Facebook. Vivian, who is someone new to me, I want to thank her for being here tonight. And she just seems to really enjoy what you have to say, Sheila. So,
thank you. Hi, Vivian.
It's been a great evening so far.
Yeah.
And we were talking about lots of things in the last hour.
Yeah.
One of the things that you mentioned was Ouija boards.
Yes.
And you've had experience with them, and talking about Vivian, she said she had a slightly bad experience with a Ouija board when she was a preteen, and some friends back when they had no one to tell them how dangerous it was.
Right.
Luckily, no evil spirits came after them. That's awesome to hear, Vivian. I mean, that's something that a lot of people don't understand is these entities will latch onto you. And I think it's important that when one even goes ghost hunting, if you will, that they do what they can to make sure that energy is not following them home. It's interesting. I'm so glad that I'm doing this, because I have been told lots of things, say a prayer before you leave, smudge, whatever. These are things that that kind of shoo away the, even if they're a good entity or spirit, you don't want them following you home, because, then crazy stuff starts happening. But your experience with the Ouija board, Sheila, you want to continue with that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was a crazy time. It was more than 20 years ago when I was a teenager. It was, I was there with a couple of other girls, and we, just like everybody else, because you can get the Ouija boards at, your local toy store. And that's what we did. We had one, and we were playing. We were on the weekend. We were all alone by ourselves, all three of us. We were just hanging out, and we thought it would be cool to, whip it out and, just start asking questions, because, everybody else was doing it. I mean, it was supposed to be, negative, no harm at all. And so we started doing that, and, doing the, the cleansing, figurative 8 and all this other stuff, just to swipe the board and everything. And we were doing that. And all three of us girls, we had our fingertips on the planchette, and we were just going back and forth, just asking questions. And as time went on, it started moving on its own. We knew that it wasn't any of us, because you could see the blank looks in our faces. I mean, because we were all like, what the heck is going on? And as time went on, we were asking questions, is anybody here? Da, 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 da. Yes, there's somebody there. Blah, 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 blah. And as time went on, there was another room right beside us. Of course, we were in our home. And no one else was there, but there were candles on the table that was in the adjoining room that started to fall over and everything. And nothing was whipping around, not like, Hollywood style or anything like that. But there were some candles being knocked over in the adjoining room, and we asked the spirit if it was that, if they were doing it, and they said, yeah. And we knew for a fact we weren't the ones doing any of it, because by this point, we had ghostly looks all over, on our faces, like tears were forming in our eyes. We were freaked out by all means. And it was pretty scary. And, we asked, would you ever come back, in a human form? And it says yes. And, and all this other stuff, this crazy stuff. And we got scared from the next rooms, activity going on and stuff. So we just shut it down. I mean, I remember it as clear as a bell, even though that happened 24 years ago. We put that board away, and we never brought it back out again. And we were like, we're done, because I just started getting this negative emotions and this horrible feeling and stuff. And never again. And because, I mean, one of the things that, that made me want to, try put it away. I was a mom at that time already. My child was already 1 year old and everything. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting a really bad feeling with this. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm a parent at this time. I shouldn't even be doing this. My child wasn't there. My child was, at grandma's house, for a while, just, so I can get, be away for the weekend for, being a kid and everything. But it was a bad experience, because I was like, you know what? I'm an adult, not to that extent, but I was 17 years old. I shouldn't have been playing with that. I had to grow up, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So I will never, ever mess with a Ouija board again, and I strongly tell people not to be doing that because it's not a toy. Not like, you can go and pick it up right beside, what Chutes and Ladders in Candyland. It's not like that. And I wish the toy stores wouldn't, sell those things, but they do, I guess to make a profit or whatever the story is. I don't think they're good because you never know who you're going to talk to. You've got some people that want to speak to their favorite singer or something because they think it's cool, to try to bring up Jim Morrison, as an example, or somebody, or, Jimi Hendrix or something like that. You're not going to do that, they're gone. Let them, rest in peace. You're going to get somebody or some entity that's going to play games with you and play mind games and try to, gain access to your life and can totally wreck your whole existence, because I've heard some really bad situations to other people where Ouija boards have, just totally turned people's lives into hell. And why would you want to invite that? I wouldn't want to. That's why I recommend people, to leave them alone. They're no good. There's no good that can come from a Ouija board or any other kind of spirit board. I know there are people out there that would disagree with me because they have them, but, we can just agree to disagree on those.
Yeah. No, I hear you because, you're bringing something into your home that's not necessarily evil, but then again, not necessarily good.
Right.
So that's something that people really need to understand before you go out and get something like this and bring it into your home. You're inviting something in that you have no idea about. So that's definitely something to think about before you do that.
Oh, that's true. And what makes it even scarier than that, too, is that they don't know, anything about it. And once they bring that in, they sure don't know how to make it go away. Then they're haunted. They're terrorized. They don't know what's going on, and they don't even know how to make it go away. So, do they really want that? They don't think of the consequences, and it's really sad because in the beginning they thought it was only going to be like a 5-minute play game, and it's not. It can ruin somebody's life if they're not careful.
Oh yeah, I can definitely. I agree. I have no doubt about that. I want to go back to some of the questions that were asked in the Spreaker chat. I didn't get to, and in the Spreaker chat, this comes from Shar. I guess this is referring back to your spirit guide with the white light. Was it Mother Mary? I believe you already answered that.
Well, some people might say it's Mother Mary and everything, but could it be? Maybe. My beliefs are a little different than, mainstream and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And my envision of her doesn't quite fit what, people perceive Mother Mary to be, if that makes sense. Because, I've seen images of what Mother Mary looks like and all this other stuff, but it could be. I think, our spirit guides can come to us individually in ways that would make us comfortable, if that's making sense, and, in images that would make us feel, at ease and comforted. But it could be Mother Mary. If some people want to say that, but, I just see her as Mary and, somebody that's very loving and caring. So to some people it could be, but I don't necessarily see her as that way.
Very interesting. And Craig had, I can't tell if this is a comment or if it's a question, but Craig is saying, what does Mary think about merging her consciousness with her earthly fractal? Is that something that you would know?
Well, I'm trying to think in a way that I can verbalize this. I mean, every time that because people ask me questions, and I openly talk about my spirit guides to help, to hopefully help educate other people, to make them feel more comfortable about their spirit guides. So if I'm speaking, about Mary, in the form of like an earthly bound figure or something like that, I don't see, how she would see any negative, or any wrong in that, if that answers, the question. Because, okay, what I'm trying to do, through her, what she's trying to do through me is just to help, make more people aware and feel more comfortable that, spirit guides do exist.
Right.
And so, and like I was saying, because I've done my research about it too, because trust me, I'm a huge researcher about many, many things. I don't ever do anything or discuss anything without any kind of research behind it, because I am a believer, but I'm also a skeptic. So I always question things as well. And, yeah, I mean, spirit guides, from what I've researched and what I've, discovered and everything, spirit guides will come into like the earthly form and everything, just so you can feel more comfortable. Because a lot of people are spooked by things that aren't of a human form, if that makes sense. So, I mean, I think they come to us in an earthly form just to make us feel more at ease. If that answers the question, I hope it does.
I'm sure it answers most of it. and that's okay. That's we're all learning as we go along. So
absolutely.
I don't think everyone knows everything about anything. So it's something that we all definitely continue to learn on a daily basis.
Definitely.
I have a comment from one of my friends that I have met through Joe Roop, who is the producer and creator of the Fringe.fm, and Paul Francis Young. He's an amazing person. Talks about the Kabbalah. Paul's listening right now. Thanks for tuning in, Paul. He's really digging what we're talking about. He has a comment. He says it's more her demon or Idellen, higher guardian angel of HGA. Now, the thing about Paul is he is amazing when it comes to talking about mysticism and the Kabbalah. And I always see his posts on Facebook and his groups. Really great stuff. So that's an interesting point there about our demons. Is that something that you can relate to us?
Well, as far as like everybody having demons as well?
Right. I mean, what can you tell us about that?
Well, I mean, personally, I think, is like, are you like in reference to like everybody having a dark side and things like that? Having a dark side and a light side. And
that what you just said, that's great, because there is a question that comes from Dennis that also wants to know about is there a light or a darkness along with these entities, I believe, or guardians that we talk to. I don't want to be confused or confuse anyone else, but it just seems like there's a lot more to this. And
definitely.
So I guess what I'm trying to that's the basic question that I'm asking is, do we all have demons?
Well, that's an excellent question, because, a lot of people always ask, oh, well, I don't have a guardian angel. Well, I believe that everybody has guardians. Well, that's an amazing point to bring up too, Dave, though, because, demons, it's a scary thought to actually, even to ponder, because nobody wants to have the shadows following them and everything like that. But as far as having, I do believe that there is always going to be a balance of both the darkness and the light. And one of my favorite quotes that I actually personally, one of my personal quotes is, I love the light as much as I love the darkness. It brings forth such a beautiful balance, because I don't believe you can have one without the other. Does that mean that I accept demons and stuff like that? No, I don't. I don't accept anything like that. Personally, I don't embrace that. And when I say that I embrace the dark, because I do acknowledge that it exists. Because to go blindly in this world, only believing in all that is good, which, we should believe in that. I'm not saying we shouldn't. But you also have to know that the darkness exists as well. And that's what gets me, though. A lot of people who don't believe in the paranormal, who refuse to believe in the paranormal, it's because they're scared to acknowledge it, because they're afraid that they're going to bring it more to surface. Because I've spoken to a lot of people who are like, Sheila, you shouldn't be talking about this, because if you're talking about it, you're just going to bring it and you're going to invite it into your life. Well, no, I'm not. It's called education. You need to learn about things and stuff. And I tell people, that's why you should open your mind and don't be closed-minded about it, because you have to educate yourself. Because if you can educate yourself that there is darkness out there, then that means you can protect yourself. And I think we should all be able to protect ourselves. And, I do acknowledge the fact that there is darkness in the world and everything. But, as long as there's light, even the tiniest bit of light can totally knock out the darkness, because, I wholeheartedly believe that with all my heart. Darkness does exist, but as long as there's light, light will always prevail. That's the way I've always seen that, and that I believe that with all my heart. Now, that's the way I will always believe. Darkness cannot prevail when there is light.
I love it. I believe that too. And I think you do have to believe that. And I want to go back to what Paul had mentioned about that. And he was not saying demon. He was saying daemon, as Plato put it. And he basically said it's your higher self. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that definitely relates to positivity, right? And light.
Absolutely.
So I think that's great. Thank you, Paul. Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, absolutely.
Great guy there. We'll definitely be talking to him soon. Go back to some of these questions again in the Spreaker chat, then I'll jump back over to the Facebook. And if there's anything you want to bring up, Sheila, by all means, please do.
This is great. Yeah, you guys are doing wonderful.
It's pretty awesome.
I'm loving it.
And I know there was a really good point that Shar had made, or she wanted to ask you. Oh, okay. Shar wants to know, how does she teach her grandson about his gifts? He is so empathic. She's worried about his health. Is that something to worry about when you're empathic?
Actually, yes, that can be, because that's going back to being able to balance things and being empathic. I think we all need to learn how to balance our emotions and what we allow to enter us, if that makes sense. Being younger and, with, the grandson not being able to, if he's highly empathic, that means he's extremely sensitive and he's, picking up all these energies and emotions and, all the above. And it can actually affect someone's health to the point, because if you're not realizing what's going on, like when I was younger, I didn't know what it was. Like I was saying earlier, all of the stuff that's going on. There would be times to where I would feel like I was an emotional raw nerve. And because I didn't know what was going on, and it was scary. And that can affect someone, not just physically, but it can also affect someone mentally, and you've got to be able to, learn how to, again, bubble that, and, if you don't believe in white light protection, that's fine. To each his own. Everyone needs to learn their own special technique. Meditation works well. And a lot of times, and this is what really bothers me sometimes too, is because a lot of people who have abilities, they don't know what they have. They're not aware of it, so they automatically think they're a basket case. They go to the psychiatric ward, not the psychiatric ward, but they go seek help. Then they get put on all these medications and everything, which can actually have another adverse reaction. And, I mean, just think of all of the, I mean, I'm really into all of, like, the natural things and stuff like that. I'm huge into all of that. But with her grandson, or, you know, his grandson, whichever, I would just recommend sitting down and just, however old, do we know how old the child is? Didn't say or anything? But just sit down with, you know, the child and just be open with them, and, you know, and let the child know that it's okay to openly talk about the emotions, and, you know, to help the child learn, you know, that they have the ability to, you know, being an empath and everything. Because I wish someone had done that with me. I mean, I could have saved so much craziness throughout my life, you know, had someone to, you know, basically mentor me. That would have saved me tremendously. So, you know, with the grandson, I would say sit down with them and just, you know, step by step, one day at a time, and just help the child learn, you know, that the ability is okay to embrace. And, you know, it's, you know, you can use it for good. You can use it for good. And the child needs to learn how to be able to differentiate. Key is to differentiate his feelings from other people's feelings, and to be able to shut those, you know, unwanted energies off. And it took me a while to learn that, but I think, you know, with him being highly empathic and everything, he sounds like he's a pretty bright little young man. So I think he'd be able to, you know, through time and everything, he'd be able to, you know, achieve, you know, a great, you know, state of being. I think he would do really well. You know, she just, you know, just be there for him. That's what I would say. Be there for them and help guide them, you know, and just, you know, just constantly, you know, be positive and everything. And don't be scared of the ability. You know, don't be scared of something you don't understand. That's why I research everything, because it helps me to overcome my fears, and help the child do the same thing, you know, just help them to research it. And, you know, the internet is a plethora of knowledge, and, you know, you can Google things like that and learn so much and everything, you know, and I recommend that for them as well. So, you know, I wish the child, you know, the best of luck.
Oh, I'm glad that you said plethora, because I haven't said it. You know, I haven't said it at all tonight, and I'm sure these guys are just we're hanging on to hear the word plethora. Yes, that's excellent. That's excellent. You know, advice, and I agree with you. I feel that everyone should have a mentor for anything.
Absolutely.
You know? And why not with, you know, with these kinds of abilities and you know, capabilities that you know, is shown at an early age. You know, she's, you know, commenting, you know, he's only 9 years old and he's so gifted. That's wonderful. At the same time, yeah, it is. But at the same time, like we were mentioning earlier, there might be some people who can't turn that off yet. And so maybe this is something that that really needs to be, you know, nipped in the bud, if you will, you know, right away at such an early age, and being so gifted. So that's wonderful, Shara. I really you know, applaud you if you're going to work with your grandson like that. That's really great.
Definitely. And it creates a wonderful bond between them as well, and it can bring them closer together, and I think that's beautiful.
Right. No, that is awesome. And yeah, that's great advice, Sheila.
Oh, thank you.
What is your view? This comes from Dennis. What is your view on telekinesis?
Telekinesis. Oh, wow. The ability to move things with the mind. Does it exist? I've heard stories, yes. I've heard other stories, no. Of course, you know, I always do research and everything. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen it firsthand, like if you and I were sitting in a room together and you're like, hey, Sheila, watch me bend the spoon. You know, I've never seen it right at hand, but, you know, there are tales of people out there with that ability that can do that. You know, and I mean, I've seen documentaries of people being able to move things and, like, you know, especially like a fits of rage. And I'm going to use a Stephen King story as reference with this, but we all know Stephen King, for those of us who are huge Stephen King fans.
Oh, yeah.
The book that he wrote, Carrie, yeah, you remember Carrie, when she went like crazy. Yeah, she would totally go telekinetic on things. And, you know, things would start flying around and everything. And, I mean, do people have that ability? You know, I mean, I've heard, yeah. And believe it or not, my character, Cassie, in my book, she has that ability as well. And because it's just an interesting ability. I mean, I would be scared because I don't know if I would want that ability, because I don't know. You know, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it might be cool, though, because if you're sitting on the couch and you don't really feel like getting up for the remote control, you can have it, you know, just float over to you. I think that would be pretty cool. But, you know, as far as other things else, you know, I don't know. You know, I mean, I can't say that I've ever seen it firsthand, but I've seen documentaries to where people, you know, are alleged to have that ability. So, you know, does it exist? Who am I to say it's not out there? You know, it doesn't exist.
Right.
You know, kind of like what you and I were saying earlier. I can't speak for someone else when they know for a fact that it does. You know, so, I mean, I would definitely love to see it at firsthand, though. I think that would be pretty interesting.
I'm going to go back again and bring up some of the older questions I might have missed. And one of them comes from Catalina in the Spreaker chat. Catalina would like to know, has Sheila tried her empath abilities in remote viewing?
No, I haven't. And that would be something that I would love to try to do. I know that there are, you know, like, you know, disclosed government, you know, things like that. But I've actually read about those, and remote viewers and stuff like that, and other people that have claimed to be remote viewers. That is just a fascinating ability. I don't know if I would want to try it, though. I mean, I've never done it, but yeah, I mean, I recently spoke to a lady at a Paracon that I was at about a month ago. She claimed that she was a remote viewer, and I asked her if I could interview her for my site, and she hasn't gotten back with me, and I don't know, I think that would be really interesting to be able to psychically be able to, you know, put yourself in another location. You know, it could be in the next room, or it could be in the next state, or, you know, like with the military, you know, with some of their, you know, their disclosed documentations and stuff like that, where people would go overseas in covert operations and things like that. You know, I mean, that's just fascinating to me. You know, I mean, I've heard that it can actually mess up with someone's brain too. I don't know. And I think that's one thing that scares me. Well, yeah, with some of the documents that I've read and stuff like that, you know, with the government and stuff like that. And, yeah, some of the remote viewers have claimed that it really messed with their brains. So I don't know if I'd want to even try that. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's really interesting to be able to tap into something to that extent.
So
that's a great question, by the way.
It is. Thank you very much, Kevin. BTO has asked, has Sheila ever had any type of extraterrestrial interdimensional experiences? If so, who has Sheila have connected with galactically, universally?
I wish I could say yes to all the above, but unfortunately, I have never had that kind of experience. I would love to, you know, as long as it was all good stuff, you know. Do I believe aliens exist? 100%, because I think it's pretty egotistical to say that we are the only living planet out there. And, you know, I mean, come on now. You know, I mean, there have been documented reports for eons. And, you know, we can't be the only planet out there in this big, huge, beautiful, vast of a universe, you know, that, you know, we're not alone, you know. And I would love to, you know, have an experience, as long as it was a positive one, nothing with probing instruments or anything like that. I don't want anything like that. But I don't know. I think that would be interesting. Now, I've talked to people that claim that they've seen UFOs, but I personally have never seen one.
Yeah, I've seen something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty vague to label something as unidentified flying object.
Right.
But when it comes to maybe extraterrestrial or, a close encounters of a fourth or fifth kind, whatever that fifth kind may be.
Right.
It's, in other words, I've never had little green men in my room,
Me either.
But I've heard a lot of people have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And then they'd be waking up in the middle of the night and being, like levitated off their bed and everything. I think that would just terrify me.
Oh, my God.
I would probably go into cardiac arrest right there.
Yeah, that would freak me out. And that would definitely put me into some sort of heart attack mode for sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up the fact that I did find, I don't want to say it's a fact, I want to say a note. So a note on the Ouija board. Businessman Elijah Bond had the idea to patent a planchette sold with a board on which the alphabet was printed, much like the previously existing talking boards. The patentees filed on May 28th, 1890.
Wow.
For patent protection, and thus are credited with the invention of the Ouija board. So just wanted to bring that up about the Ouija board, and also that the name, according to Kennard, not sure who Kennard is, came from using the board and was an ancient Egyptian word meaning good luck.
Really?
Yeah, that's what
That's
it says.
ironic. Wow.
Yeah, pretty interesting. And again, like I said, I don't want to call it a fact, but I will say it is a note. So
that is interesting.
There you go, people, on the Ouija board. And going back to telekinesis, I would love to be able to do that too, because I'm lazy.
Right?
I'm lazy and I don't like to get up to get the remote either.
I know.
It's serious. And I think it's interesting because when people do things with their mind, whether it's remote viewing, levitating things and such, and things like that and such, I think about pyrokinesis.
Yes.
The ability to create fire with your mind.
Yes.
And I hear about all these stories about spontaneous combustion.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I see this, I'm putting the two together. What if that's really somebody setting someone on fire with their mind?
Oh my God. That's true. I never thought about that, but wouldn't that be just bizarre? Oh my God, that's somebody's hit list.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
I mean, I know, you tick somebody off and they're like, oh, guess what? Boom, there you go. Oh my gosh. I never thought of that. Oh my God, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's true though. Oh man. Wow.
And going back to Carrie, man, if you going to school and picking on the weakling kid and that sort of thing, you never know what you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that.
Right? I mean, just gotta be careful because poor little innocent girl. Yeah, she turned out to be a nightmare. That was scary. I'd watch that that movie again many, many times. So I love it. Every time I watch it, it's like watching it over for the first time again. I love that movie. I've never really just read the book entirely, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that is cool.
Yeah.
All right. So again, everyone, I hate to to continue to jump around and stuff, but I'm trying to get to everyone's questions. If I missed it, maybe you can do me a favor and just repost it in caps, and I'll try to get to it as best as I can. So once again, in the Spreaker chat, let's see. We have. No, I saw one here. That's the extraterrestrial one. Okay, so Dennis Koch in the Spreaker chat. Bill Dennis, where Christians are or other faiths are concerned, is the issue of disturbing a spirit's rest a concern?
Well, okay, I'm going to tell you, like, one time I was interviewing a gentleman by the name of David Oman, and if a lot of people are familiar with Sharon Tate, okay, I interviewed him for my site a few years back, and I'm going to tell you, like he told me, and it was so wise, but it was so simple. He goes, because he has a lot of ghosts in his house, he says, and everything, and so I'm like, well, how do you deal with it? He goes, Sheila, I don't provoke these spirits, and I'm like, well, that's good, but, tell me a little bit more. And he goes, well, because I respect them, and they respect me. Why would I want to disturb them? I leave them alone, and they leave me alone. And I said, you know what? That's really wise. As simple as that is so prophetic. That is just, it makes a lot of sense. It's just like going into a cemetery. I love cemeteries. To me, they're the safest place in the world. I don't get feared by them or get afraid by them or anything, because I leave the spirits alone. I don't believe in provoking them. I don't believe in disturbing them. Okay, here's a prime example. If you're laying down in your bed and you're sound asleep, do you want anybody to come by you and bother you? No, it's out of respect. Same principle. I don't believe in, poking and prodding them. If a spirit comes up to somebody and seeks help, that's a different story. But, like you see a lot of people that will sit there and get rude with spirits and try to, provoke them into doing horrible things. Don't toy with them. Again, that goes back to you don't know what you're messing with, and, it's just all about respect. You respect the living and you respect the dead, and, hopefully in return, they'll do the same for you. And that's just how I believe, and it's basic, but it brings a lot of truth to it.
Yeah, absolutely, and and from what Dennis wrote in here, he agrees with you, because I didn't really finish that question. He had mentioned that for example, if we awake them, are they destined to now remain awake instead of resting? And if they're awake, I'm sure they're probably not going to be too happy, Right.
Well, that's an excellent point too. Yeah, and I think, a lot of times people are like, talking about how the spirits are angry and everything. Well, you keep bothering them, and, just leave them alone. Just leave them alone, and, yeah, they're not going to be too happy, and, if they're, they're, if we woke them up or something, are they destined to be awake for the rest of, all eternity? I don't know. I can't answer that. Who's to say? Hopefully I won't find that, that answer out for many, many, many years to come, because I don't want to be on the other side for any time soon. But, that's a good question. But I think if we just leave them alone, just out of respect, they'll leave us alone too. For the most part, hopefully anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I hope people leave me alone. We were talking about that, right. Remember? It's like, we're not going to rest until we die. Well, maybe that's that's not so. Maybe that's not really the case after all.
I know. I don't want to be running errands after I'm dead. Come on now. There's got to be a stopping point sometime.
There might be some spirits in the good old what is it? The Home Depot or Kohl's, or not Kohl's, Lowe's.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, they can do my chores for me then. I'd be happy with that.
There you go. Levitating 2x4s.
Right? Where's the harm in that? Come on now. You don't even have to feed them.
Exactly. Craig comes in with a comment I want to say, and I think I don't know what he's trying to say, actually. Craig, I'm not understanding. I'd like you verification of ET. I like your verification of ET. Ask Mary. Why are you saying Mary, Craig? I'm talking to Sheila. I think
my spirit guide.
Maybe he's asking you to ask Mary, what universe greater being represents? Ask if it's the heart of the universe.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough question to answer. What's the heart of the universe? I mean, I don't know. That's
right.
I mean, there's so many levels, like we were talking about, as far as existence and, ETs and, things like that coming, into our dimension and then maybe going out, back and forth. I mean, that opens up a whole new topic right there, because there's so many different dimensions and everything. Who's to say there's only one heart of a universe? Or, I mean, you see where I'm going with that? I mean, I don't know. That's a fascinating thing to even ponder.
Well, not to mention that there's multiple universes that I believe
exactly.
Yeah, no, that's right. Dawn, and Spreaker is asking, can Sheila help spirits? Can you help spirits?
I mean, I could, but I mean, I've never, like I said, I don't see them. So I can't, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to help them cross over. I've never done that because, like I said, and I don't see them. So, I mean, I can feel, but I've never helped one cross over. That's not something that I mean, there are people that help others to cross over. That's just not what I feel comfortable with doing, because I do believe that everything happens for a reason, and it's not my place. I'm not, okay, I hate to use the word chosen, but I'm not the chosen one to do that, if that makes sense. It's just not what I do. It's not what I do, because I don't feel comfortable with that, because I don't, if they want me to help them, I can help the living, the dead, whatever, but I haven't been chosen to do that with my ability, if that makes sense. Because like I said earlier, everybody has a different way that they use their ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just not what I do. I mean, I could, I guess, if I had. I mean, I've just never been approached like that.
Yeah, that is interesting, because maybe sometimes these spirits don't want to be helped, or
right,
whatever entity is out there.
Exactly.
They like it the way it is. Who knows?
Yeah, they do. Well, and I think a lot of times too, the reason why a lot of the spirits are still here is because they're afraid to cross over, because they don't know what's on the other side. And once they go to the other side, what if, they're scared they can't make it back here? Because once you cross over, you cross over. And like you're saying, they're comfortable with where they are. It may not be unfinished business. It just might be a state of comfort for them. And, with each spirit, you can have 100 different spirits. You're going to have 100 different answers. Just like humans, we all have our reasons for doing things. And, they vary,
Mm-hmm.
So, it's to even think about what's on the other side, it's scary. I mean, and for some beliefs, there's a heaven, there's a hell. And I know a lot of them are scared that there may not be anything that exists, period, at all. So, I mean, it's a scary place. And if they don't know, they don't know,
Yep. That's really cool. I mean, that, a lot of these questions and comments are coming up because these are a lot of questions that I don't even remember asking some of my past guests. So,
right. They're awesome questions. So great, guys. Kudos. I love them.
And I love that you're actually answering them, Sheila. So I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm trying the best that I can. Well, like I tell people, I can only speak on behalf of me on what I have experienced and what I've got going on. Yes, there are so many people out there with wonderful abilities and such, but I can only express what I've experienced and what I know for my own self. So, I hope I'm helping, I'm answering these, these awesome questions to the best that I can. So
I think you're doing a great job. Keep them coming, everyone.
Well,
I'm going.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like I said, I'm jumping around quite a bit, but I'm getting to your questions as best as I can. So, we're here. It's a great time to ask them, and I think this has been an awesome platform and format. We got less than 5 minutes before our next break, and one of the things I wanted to bring up is when why do we feel other people's emotions, Sheila? I mean, as empaths.
That is an excellent question, Dave, though, and this is my answer, because I believe that those of us that are empaths, I think we have the ability, this is what I feel in my heart, that we have the ability to help others. Because, and I know with you being an empath and me and, a lot of the other empaths, people gravitate towards us. I mean, you could be in Walmart and a total stranger will come up to you with whatever, the life story that they've got. And no exaggeration, a couple of weeks ago, I really was at Walmart and I'm smelling melted wax candles, whatever, because I like to buy the wax scents. And this one lady, beautiful heart, comes up to me and just starts talking to me out of the clear blue. We stayed there for about 10, 15 minutes just talking to me, to each other. And it was amazing. And come to find out, she was an empath as well. And I looked at her, I said, you and I were drawn to each other. She said, yeah, we were. And we actually, even though I never met this beautiful lady before in my life, we embraced each other. And right before we let go, she goes, I love you. And I said, I love you too. And I felt that within my heart that she meant it. And I know she felt it too. Because, we gravitate towards each other. We help people out, because she was going through a tough time. She just needed that hug. And a lot of people just need that, even if we encounter somebody for 15 minutes. Being empaths, we help people. And, whatever the situation may be, sometimes all you got to do is just give somebody a smile. And that can change somebody's day for the better, and it can speak volumes. And so that's why I say being an empath for me is a gift. Where, I was younger, I thought it was a curse, but that was because I didn't know how to embrace my ability. And that's how I use my ability, and I try to make people's days brighter for them, and I think that, like you're saying, I think that's why people gravitate towards us and everything, it's just, I think we have that ability to help others, and even if it's a bad day, we go through our emotions for reasons, and I think they're learning processes,
Yeah.
It's a gift.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, like I was saying before, it's like I used to question, that age-old question, what am I doing here? What is my purpose?
Yeah.
Why? And I can't answer that question for anybody else but myself. When it finally comes to me, and I feel that you're on the money. It's the fact that I'm here to help in whatever way, shape or form possible. And for me, doing radio, doing either Dave Scott's show, Spaced Out Radio, or doing my show, Beyond the Strange, or anyone, or going on any show or in any type of format, whether it's blogging or just talking to someone. I find that when I talk to people, just one-on-one, I feel more comfortable that way.
Yes, absolutely. Like connections there.
Exactly. And not it's not that I don't like parties or being, in around a lot of people, but I get kind of like suffocated.
Yeah.
And
like you've got this wrap around you.
Yeah. And I'm not what do you call it? It's a phobia when you feel like you're getting suffocated.
Claustrophobic.
Yes, claustrophobic. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that, because I'm fine when I'm in, small spaces and stuff. But when it comes to like these, get-togethers and things like that, I just get really so
yeah.
It's unnatural for me, but I'm just saying that if you see me at a party and if I bolt out the door early, don't take it personal.
No, I agree with you, because I'm the same way. I'm looking for the closest exit, and I don't mean any harm by that, but I'm just like, okay, thanks guys, love ya, bye.
Gotta go.
Yeah, so I mean, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about, and that goes with your comfort zone.
Actually, absolutely. And speaking of gotta go, we gotta go to another break. I can't believe it. So. Well,
right?
Why don't we do that? And when we come back, we'll definitely pick it up in the chat questions. This is Spaced Out Radio, Saturday nights. I am your host, Dave Cruz, and we are speaking with Sheila Renee Parker. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Not ready for bed on Saturday night? Right after Spaced Out Saturdays, hop on over to S4 with Corey Ruiz and me, Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. With S4, there are no limits to what we try and uncover. From government conspiracies to helping clean up the paranormal, no topic is safe on S4. We get to the heart of the matter, of the subjects you want to learn more about. So tune in on S4 starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, only on spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Sightlines is a place for you to find answers to your strange experiences. Hi there, this is Mike Schmidt. If you have had an encounter with ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, ETs, or anything else that doesn't make sense, head to spacedoutradio.com and file a Sightlines report. All information you give is 100% confidential, and I will personally help you find the answers you need. SOR Sightlines, your answers are a click away.
Hi there. I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4Cop. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
This is Eric Markham, news editor for the Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter Online. We have put together a great team of writers and journalists from all over the world to bring you top-quality paranormal stories, from alien encounters to the latest conspiracies. You won't find any of that fake news here. True stories and top-notch reporting as we look to bring these experiences to the mainstream. The Encounter Online, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know the truth? Do UFOs exist? Are aliens real? Are the governments hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO seekers, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along with us as we journey across the United States, visiting UFO hotspots and alien hotspots, trying to document the UFO phenomenon. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
It's Cosmic Sundays with me, Elizabeth Anglin, in Cosmic Passport. Let me take you down a 3-hour spiritual journey where we will get into everything from ET contact to Psychic Sundays. It's a journey of listening and learning together with some of the best professionals in their fields. You can tune in to Cosmic Passport at spacedoutradio.com every Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Now, back to Dave Cruz and SOR.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Saturday Nights. I'm Dave Cruz, your host. Tonight we are speaking with Empath, Extraordinaire, Sheila Renee Parker. Tomorrow night, Elizabeth Anglin has Psychic Sundays on Spaced Out Sundays Cosmic Passport, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. And that's at spacedoutradio.com. You can also listen to me, Dave Cruz, as I host Beyond Strange Radio Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Go to spacedoutradio.com/paranormal and click on the Beyond the Strange button for links and info to the show. We want to welcome everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Union, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are also live on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. We are live on TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, and KTLK The Fringe.fm as well. Find us on TuneIn and iTunes for download. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Head on over to the website for some great features from videos, UFO Seekers, and Contact TV. Shop at our store. Pick up t-shirts, posters, and stickers. And don't forget to rock out to our resident guitar god, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, who is the official music of the mighty Spaced Out Radio. Once again, I'd like to thank our guests for being with us tonight. Miss Sheila Renee Parker, thank you so much for being on the show tonight, Sheila. Hello? Okay. Somehow I lost Sheila. We are going to see if we can get her back. That was interesting. Sheila, are you there? Hello? Miss
Hey?
Sheila, there you are.
Hey.
I'm not sure what happened.
I don't know. Wow.
That was bizarre, but we got you back, so that's
Hey.
the good thing. So there we go.
Absolutely.
All right. So what we're talking about during the break, Sheila, would you like to let our audience know about your website and what you do there?
Sure. Absolutely. My site or blog, whichever you want to call it, is you can find me at sheilarparker.wordpress.com. And that is my paranormal site. And what I do there, I openly discuss the paranormal. My blog is a non-judgmental blog. I don't allow any kind of negative comments, negative reactions, or anything like that. It is a very open-minded site, and I welcome people to come and discuss anything that they want to with me, and because I've had some wonderful people come forward with their experiences and stuff like that, and I love it. And because not only do I love to talk about my paranormal experiences, I love to learn from other people about their experiences, and together, I think we can grow and learn from each other. And not only with that, on my site, I also I conduct interviews with some pretty phenomenal guests as well. My site, my interviews that I conduct are all written, so everything is, for my readers, and because I am a writer. But not only do I talk about the paranormal, my paranormal experiences, I conduct interviews. I'm, like we were saying earlier, I'm also a poet. A lot of my poems are on there as well, and so to use the plethora word again, my site is actually a plethora of, paranormal / catch-all for everything. So, I have fun with my site. I've had it for about 3.5 years, and I try to do weekly updates for it, sometimes more, sometimes less. It just, I just have fun with it, and I really, really enjoy what I do. And not only do I talk about my paranormal experiences and I welcome other people with theirs and stuff, but I also talk about paranormal topics. And, like, for instance, I might talk about shadow people, or, I've talked about Ouija boards. I've talked about psychic abilities. I've talked about streetlight interference. I've talked about incubus, succubus. And when I do my research, I try to go back into, like, the history of things and bring up cues and, some facts and stuff about it as well, and just, like I was saying earlier, it's about education. And as far, as if you educate yourself and everything, how can you truly fear something if you learn about it? You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's key. You've got to learn about things. And, yes, I've had paranormal experiences throughout my life ever since I can remember. But that's why I research it, because it helps me not to be afraid. And that's why I tell people to come to my site if you have questions, or if you just want to read, what I have to say. And, I love the interactions and everything, because I try to help people overcome their fears as well. Because, it's just, like I said, I think it's all about us learning together and, just educating ourselves. And, that's how we can overcome fear and things. So I think that's awesome. So, I'd love for people to come and see, to check out my site. It's at sheilarparker.wordpress.com. If you personally want to send me a message or something, there's a page on my site, on my blog, and it says Contact Sheila Renee Parker. I invite you to, contact me through there, and, you can, and I'll get your message, and I will email you back, as soon as I can. And, and don't be afraid to, submit, any kind of questions you have, because trust me, I'm extremely open-minded, because a lot of people have come up to me and they're like, Sheila, I don't want to, freak you out with what I have to say. And I'm like, try me. You're not going to freak me out. I can promise you that. And so, I like to help people out the best that I can. So, I encourage people to, come, chat with me. I'd love the interaction.
I think that's wonderful. That, that is awesome. I'm the same way, man. Like I said, I totally dig the one-on-one thing. I could be at a conference and I can speak to a bunch of people at one time. It's not easy, but I can do that.
Yes.
But
Right.
it's so cool, just to be like, hey, let's, go into the lobby or something and sit down and have a cup of coffee or something like that.
Yeah.
And just chill and talk. And I could talk for hours and listen for hours. It's just amazing. I love conversation like that.
Yes, me too.
And that's really cool that, you have other aspects of the paranormal on your blog. You mentioned something that kind of, perked my ears up a little bit, and you were mentioning about succubus, and incubus, and a lot of these, weird different phenomena. How did that all started coming to, for you to come together? As far as did it just seem like one thing after another? The more you research, the more I found this and I found that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, because I mean, I am, oh man, yeah, you put me in a place of history or anything like that. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Nice.
I mean, yes, I've had my paranormal experiences. Oh yeah. But just because I talk about something on my site, on my blog, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's happened to me. But there are people out there that have had those experiences, and I want to be able to help educate people to the best that I can, even though it's not happened to me, some of those things, but I can still help somebody because it's helping me to educate myself as well. And yeah, like you're saying, if I'm looking up one thing, and then, like, especially like with Wikipedia or any other of your, search engines or anything, then you see these other keywords that will be popped into, for whatever reason. And then I'm like, oh, what does that mean? So I'll click onto it, and then there's a whole other topic right there. And so, I mean, it's just constant, and it's mind-blowing, because it's just, wow. And, a lot of people are like, oh, well, the paranormal, all this stuff is just now popping up. No, it's not. It's been for eons. Yeah, you've got these paranormal shows and stuff, with some really great people on them that are just now becoming more, aware, where I think people are becoming more open about their experiences. But there have been paranormal experiences throughout the ages. I mean, it's amazing. Okay, upon some of my research, about doppelgangers, that's like a ghostly double. Upon my research, I found out that Abraham Lincoln had seen his doppelganger before he was actually assassinated. I thought that was pretty interesting. No doubt. Yeah, seriously. He saw his doppelganger in a dream where he was looking in a mirror and saw a ghostly figure of his exact image and sitting beside him, or standing beside him looking at the mirror. And then not too long after that, that's when he was assassinated. Catherine the Great, she actually saw her doppelganger before she died, sitting on the chamber pot. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, and these were centuries ago. And, all of this stuff, I mean, this is because, of research. And it's just like, I know you can hear the excitement in my voice, but I love history. Mm-hmm. And it's just fascinating to me, and I don't know. I mean, there's never enough time in all the world to learn everything there is to know. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I get so excited with it, it's people are like, oh, aren't you scared? No, I'm not. I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and I love it, and it's just, and that's why I love the interaction with people, and because I'm constantly learning, and I hope that I'm helping them learn as well, because it's fascinating to me, it's very rewarding, and you can never go wrong with that.
A great comment that just came in from the Facebook chat, and thank you so much, Vivian, for listening, and your comments are have been so amazing. She says, this kind of show doesn't come around often, and I've been desperately needing to concentrate on something else. This is my kind of topic, and you're exactly right, Vivian. And Sheila, you'll agree with me. Like I said at the beginning of the show, so much has gone on in our world that, getting back to doing something that we love to do, and that's talk paranormal. It's refreshing again, to research and discover new things. I mean, what you just said about Abraham Lincoln, I had no idea.
Yep, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. And I found that out because I was going through research about doppelgangers, and I'm thinking, I was going to find some recent stuff. No. And I mean, it was crazy because I wrote that. Okay. I wrote that about, an article for my site about doppelgangers. And somebody from Destination America, one of the producers from one of the shows, and she contacted me. She had read my site, read my article, and she goes, "So I read your article about doppelgangers." I'm like, "Yeah, well, thank you so much for acknowledging that. I really appreciate you taking the time." And this came out of the blue, out of left field, and she's like, "Have you ever seen a doppelganger? If you have, I'd like to know more about it so you can come on our show." And I'm like, "No, wait a minute. I was just doing research. I've never seen a doppelganger. I don't want to see my own doppelganger."
That's
usually a hard. Yeah, I was like, no. She goes, "Oh, well, I'm trying to find somebody that's seen a doppelganger." I told her, I said, "Well, look, with all due respect, I hope you don't ever contact anybody that's seen a doppelganger, because they're harbingers of doom. That's what doppelgangers are. They're messengers of doom. But that all came from me doing research and stuff, and I love research. I think it's just great. And Vivian, she's been awesome with all her questions and comments and everything, like you're saying. I mean, I love all your listeners are doing such a great job, and I love all the questions and the comments everybody's saying. It's fantastic, guys. Keep them coming.
Yes, please do. I this has been a fascinating show tonight, and the time is just flying by, and I'm really hoping that we can get a lot more questions and comments in there, before the end of the show. What I wanted to ask was, again, with your website, when you delve into this type of research, what are some of your resources? Because I know for me, when I research, it's either talking to someone, again, one-on-one, either through Skype or on the phone or whatever, or it's through my guest, or it's the library.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the library is always a great source, because, I mean, there's nothing better than to crack open a book. But, and then, like you're saying, you're talking to people one-on-one, because to truly get someone else's experience, you can do a lot of research and everything and, find all this great information, but to actually get someone's personal experience, that brings it to a whole new level, because you're learning from their perspective. You're learning through their eyes what they have seen. And I, like I learned from talking to people. From a lot of my research actually comes from online, and I can't just necessarily pinpoint one source or the other. Wikipedia is great, but there are so many other different references out there, and I can't just name them all, because, when I'm online, I don't actually necessarily pay attention to the location necessarily, because I am so wrapped up into the information from what I'm reading that by the time I'm done doing my research, I probably clicked on through 20, 30 different tabs for something. And just because, I don't know, it's just fascinating to me. But I learn from every way I possibly can, like you're saying, via one-on-one, through somebody's face, face-to-face, or, through social media, or, doing my own research online or something like that, or even if it's on the telephone or something like that. You can always get knowledge and education from everywhere. You just got to know, you just have to be open to accept it, if that makes sense. Just because it may not be in a book doesn't mean that it's not concrete, if that makes sense. But, there is knowledge out there, I research everything I can from everywhere, every source known possible. I don't put a boundary on where I get my information from. I just love it, and I'm just open to constantly learning.
It's interesting. That's amazing that you say all that stuff, because I totally agree with you 100%. And it's funny because I think about winning the lotto.
Yes.
But see, I think about winning the lotto differently than other people would. They'd want to take a vacation and they'd want to do this and that with the money and buy this and buy that. I want to just win the lotto and just do what I want to do with my research.
Wouldn't that be great?
It would be so awesome. And that mean, talking to people around the world. And and I don't know about you, but I haven't really found good bookstores around my area. I probably need to go into more into like San Francisco because I'm in the Bay Area, and look for those little shops and stuff like that. So if anyone out there has any tips on where to find some good shops, like bookstores that have lots of great history and lots of little knickknacks like that, hit me or Sheila up, because we're geeks like that. So definitely,
definitely
let us know. But I would love to do that. I mean, I would love to go around, start off with the country, of course, and just go from store to store to see what I can find.
Oh, that would be so amazing, and leave with Santa Claus's big old red sack on the back, full of books and everything. That would be great because, there's nothing wrong with Kindle or any other kind of ebook form or anything like that, but I'm old-fashioned. I love to crack open a book. I love to smell the pages, as old as the book may be. There's just something about it. I love to have it right there in my hand. So I love bookstores. So I'm right there with you. They're great places.
I think they are. They're really cool. And as I get more into this, genre again in this community, I've always thought of things being black and white. I always thought about things being good and evil. Yeah. And one of the things I'm learning is you have to study every aspect, whether it's bad or whether it's good. Like, I would have never known there really are, good witches, and not all witches are bad. Right. You only learn that stuff through, like in school, like with the Salem witch trials. And, as far as I'm concerned, I grew up in a religious background, Christian Judeo. And, I've always been taught that this was evil, that was evil. This is Satan, that's Satan. And, maybe not so much. Maybe it doesn't have to be, this or that, especially with religion.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And I mean, a lot of that can be based on perception. I know there are people out there that would disagree with me on that, but because I was raised as Baptist, we went to church, on Sundays and on Wednesday nights, and we went to revival and all that good stuff. And, it was a strong community. It was a small country church, but, and the people, genuinely good-hearted folks, and I loved them. And to this day, I still stay in contact with some of them. Unfortunately, some of them have passed on because, it happens, the community moves on. And, but, we had some really good people. The congregation was good. But, I still had my questions. I think that's another reason why I became such a huge researcher, because I was constantly questioning. And my mom always told me, with all due respect towards her, she said, you can't question. And I said, well, why not? She said, because you're just not supposed to. And so like you're saying, I was brought up with a strict background, and I think growing up, that was what made it even more difficult for me to openly discuss anything to do with the paranormal. Even though my mom was the one who actually introduced me to the writings of Stephen King. And, but, and respectfully, I just didn't talk about a whole lot of stuff because I just didn't know to, and I was scared to, because I just didn't. And, but then as I got older, like you're saying, you start seeing different views of things, and you start realizing, hey, well, this doesn't mean it's bad. Just because it's, I was raised to believe one way doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I believe there's good and bad in everybody or everything, and it's just, it's how we view things and how we see, as we get older, we start seeing things differently. I think we start to open our perspectives and open our minds, and that could be wonderful, and, that's what I've done throughout my experience. And, it sounds like that's what you've done too, Dave, so it's about learning. I know I keep saying that, but that's what it boils down to is, just learning, and there's just so much out there to embrace.
What have you, what's one of the things that you've learned since you've been, in doing this research and learning about your abilities? Mm-hmm. What's one of the things that just kind of make you step back and go, wow?
Oh gosh. Wow. To pinpoint one. honestly, it's kind of weird though, because I mean, it's kind of like, just stepping back. And for me, this is going to sound silly, but like when I can walk into a room and I can automatically tell you whether or not somebody's having a good day or a bad day. Now, to me, that's a wow factor. To others, that might be trivial, whatever. But to me, because I can automatically go to that individual without embarrassing them and just say, hey, come here, I haven't seen you in a while, let me give you a hug. And, stuff like that to this day still wows me because, like I said, just being an empath, I embrace it as a gift. And I guess, in a nutshell, every day is a wow factor for me because I am so open about having my ability and I embrace it with all my heart. Every moment it's a blessing for me. So it's a wow factor for every moment for me to have this ability now because it took me many, many years to be able to embrace that. And because it terrified me. But to be able to be blessed with this gift, it's a wow factor because I use it to help others. And anytime I can help somebody, it's a massive reward for me because I know it's not about me, it's about them. And to be able to help somebody come to light, that speaks volumes for me. So it's amazing. It's like a natural high for me. And to be able to help somebody, that's the wow factor for me.
That's awesome because it does make me go wow too that I can help somebody.
Yes.
And again, I try to cover everything, from cryptids to ghosts, Bigfoot, to aliens. But I delve a little bit into conspiracy. I don't want to say theory, but analyst. As a conspiracy analyst, I question a lot of things, and especially things that have to do with our government and things that have to do with, some of the stuff that's going on in the world right now. And one of the things I am constantly asking, why are they spraying our skies with this goo and this crap? And people who are not, awake, they tend to not look up in the sky, and they tend to just go about their business, or they say, well, what can I do about it? What is one person going to do about it? And that's where I come in and I say, look, if I can convince one person,
thank you,
one person that they are doing these chemtrails, then I'm doing something.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that person might turn and convince 10 people. And then out of that 10 people, they might convince 100 people, and so on and so on and so on. And if that happens, you get the domino effect, and maybe we can change things.
Absolutely. That's the pay it forward right there. Absolutely. That's the reward that you get because that's your wow factor because you did something good. And that speaks volumes, Dave, and I think that's fantastic. Like you're saying, I agree with you completely.
I really hope so. I really, really, really hope so. I really want to do that and and change the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the better.
And like you said, yes, absolutely. If everybody woke up in the morning and said, you know what am I going to do? What can I do? Then you know what? That's the negative attitude, and nothing's going to change. But if every single person, and I know it can't happen, not everybody's going to be on the same wavelength, but if we woke up with better attitudes and with a sense of knowing and being confident that we can help change the world, one person at a time can make a huge difference, like you're saying, because you're doing one for one person. That person can go and do for 10 people and so on and so forth. I mean, that right there, like you're saying, it's a domino effect. Just think what kind of magic can be created from that, I mean, that's amazing. Who can deny that,
Yep. And I'm glad I'm seeing, again, good comments in Spreaker and Facebook and Twitter and all that. And, again, the more the merrier. Thank you all for listening. This has been an awesome show. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and there are some questions I know I missed, and one of them comes from Dennis. Again, Dennis is asking, how does Sheila clear her mind after an empathic meeting experience? Ooh, that's a good question.
That's an excellent question. Believe it or not, this is kind of like personal, but when I'm in the shower, I shower in the dark, and I can't believe I'm saying this on air, so people are going to think I'm totally weird, but that's okay. I'm good with it. But I shower in the dark. I turn out all the lights, and I just let the water run over me. And that's how I end my day, and I relax every single day because I allow everything just to kind of fade away. And then when I get out of the shower, I feel better and everything. It's kind of like just washing the day's energies away, if that makes sense. And then I find myself at a better peace, and that's when I know I can, go to bed with a clear head and everything, and then start the day all over again. So, I mean, as simple as that may sound, that's what works for me, though. But yeah, I mean, you can do it through meditation and everything else too, or go for a nature walk or something like that. Actually, I did that yesterday. I went for a nature walk down by the river close to where I live, and sat there for about an hour and a half, and I enjoyed it. But I have to be near water. Water is very refreshing for me. I live 20 minutes from the beach. I live 10 minutes from the river, and I'm near water all the time. I love the energy that water puts out. I'm a Pisces. I was born in March. And yeah, right. I'm a Pisces, so I have to be near water, and just the flow and everything helps me, put my mind at ease, and it helps to clear my mind. So, and again, it's like not a ritual. I wouldn't dare use that word as far as like taking a shower and all, but I mean that just helps me to cleanse my mind and go back to a better, healthy state of being, and washes away all the day's energies. I mean, metaphorically speaking and, physically speaking, it's good. And everybody should have their downtime to do something, to be able to cleanse their minds on a daily basis, because it helps to flush out the toxins.
Very cool. I like that visualization, though. I mean, it's, not just, taking a shower or a bath or whatever and cleansing that way, but it's cleansing spiritually the energies, and letting it flow right down the drain. So that's
absolutely
really
and
cool.
And to envision it like that, I mean, it helps. It really does.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Thanks.
Dawn is asking, have you also had a near-death or death experience?
No, thank goodness. Honestly, though, that's a great question, though. But when I was 18 years old. I wasn't quite 19. I was involved in a really bad car accident where the car rolled. And I remember it flipping over. What had happened, it was me and some coworkers. We were going down a road, and it's kind of like a declining down around a curve and everything. And the car from the opposite direction came and hit us, and it spun us. And then as we were going down the hill, it flipped the car over. And I remember from the wheels, it flipped over. We landed directly on top of the hood. And then the car bounced back up and landed on all four wheels. It actually landed so hard that one of the axles broke completely off. And, but I wasn't near death. That wasn't anything like a near death experience, but that was actually one of the most tragic situations I had ever been in. And when my mom saw the car the next day, everybody came to the site, but she didn't see the car until the next day because it was so late at night when it happened. She's like, Sheila, I don't know how you survived that accident. And she cried. She said, I'm just so grateful that you lived. And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, I at the time that the car accident was happening, I didn't even think about dying. But that wasn't anything near death for me, but people are like, I don't understand how you didn't survive. I mean, how you did survive that, because you should have been dead in that. But I don't know. I got blessed. I don't know. And thinking now that was the closest I would consider coming to death, but I've never had a near-death experience other than, anything. So I don't know. I've talked to some people that have had those situations, but, I can only imagine what each person would go through. So that's just scary.
Yeah, that is scary. Anything that has to deal with death. I've been in a couple of accidents myself that I thought I was going to bite, the dust, seriously, and it's really scary, really, really scary, but nothing like, I've heard or, like seen in movies and stuff where people leave their body.
Right.
There's a question for you, Sheila. Have you ever left your body like, astral travel or something like that?
I have tried astral projection, and I've never just been able to successfully do it. And I've tried to go through the motions and stuff, well, not motions, but the steps of doing it and everything. But I don't know. I haven't tried it for years, but I've just never been able to successfully do it. I would like to, but the times that I did try it, I'm embarrassed to say that I got really comfortable and I kind of dozed off. But they said that's okay to do that because, things like that will happen too. But I've never actually successfully been able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
a great question.
if anything, you'll get a great night's sleep.
Yes, absolutely. I did sleep pretty well then. Yeah, I really did. Because you have to be, in order to astral project, you have to be able to put your mind at peace and everything. And I did find myself very comforting. So, I got some good sleep out of that.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried it before, but I've always, what I've done, what happens to me is I get that feeling like I'm falling.
Yeah.
And then
that's scary.
Yeah, and then I'll do that. This is like, I'll jerk my body, and then the next thing you know, I'm awake, and I'm like, oh man, But I
know you shook the bed. You're like, ah.
Yeah, and I heard when you get to that point, you just let yourself fall, and then you basically you're there. But I always wake myself up, and I jerk around, and I'm just like, oh no, And, it's weird.
I know. Well, I think, it is, but subconsciously, that's our body's defense mechanism too, So, I mean, that's just, it's like the knee-jerk thing, you just do it. But like you said, you're so close to doing it. If only you could go back to that split second and make it finish, yeah.
That's really cool. Oh,
yeah.
Deb sending me some more questions.
Good job.
And I'm going to answer a couple more questions. I mentioned this in the Spreaker chat. I'm going to mention this over the air. If Deb and I don't get to your questions, please, please, please contact Sheila through the website. We'll give you that information again at the end of the show. We're almost there, as a matter of fact. Man, it's so quick tonight. It's been a great show.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure Sheila would be happy to answer your questions for you through her website. So make sure you do that. Let's go ahead and get to these last ones. And there's something I wanted to kind of go over real quick. I'm hoping we can get to before we end the show. So here is, let's see. All right. So BTO wants to know, does Sheila only deal with connecting with spirits, or has Sheila connected with elementals, cryptids as such?
Oh, wow, elementals and stuff. Oh, that's an amazing question, too. That is something that I have researched about, but I've never quite, oh, gosh, as far as elementals go, because there are fairies out there and others as well, I haven't quite connected with any kind of elementals like that. I know there are different types of elementals. There are, angels and, fairies, and there's so many different ones. I've researched it, but to make that direct connection, I have not yet.
Okay. And the other one is, has Sheila connected with Sister Earth, not Mother Nature, but the spirit and soul of Sister Earth. Sister Earth. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I'll let you take that. So.
Well, I mean, that could be, I'm not really sure if that's going to, like Mr. Earth, like the hunter, the gatherer, if you will, as far as, because you have like Gaia, which is, like Mother Nature, and, the Earth, and then you have like, like the moon, which represents the female energies and stuff, and then you have, like the hunter-gatherer, which represents, the male aspect. I do believe there's a connection with everything, to be able to feel a connection with all of that. I'm not really sure on how to answer that question, but I do believe, like if you're connected, with on so many different levels and stuff, because like yesterday when I was on my nature walk and everything, I felt a strong connection with the earth itself, because yesterday was such a beautiful day, and I was just outside taking a walk, and there were no houses around or anything. I was right by the river, and you could just feel the breeze become part of you, and close your eyes and you could smell the water, and you could just feel, the trees around you and everything. So, I mean, I was very connected with that moment, and, it just made me very, very happy to be alive. So I hope that makes, if that helps answer the question. And because I am very connected to the earth as far as things like that goes.
Really cool. Mm-hmm. And I think that might wrap it up for most of the questions in Spreaker chat and in all the other rooms. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and do this, because I kind of want to go over this with you now.
Okay.
I pulled something up earlier on psychologytoday.com, okay, and it talks about traits of empathetic people. Now, this is really interesting because there's a couple of them on there right away. I just kind of went, did the Scooby-Doo, and because I feel like I relate to it. So it's really interesting. And so here's the list. This is I believe it's a top 10 list, if you will.
Okay. Yeah.
So here we go. All right. You tell me if you agree with me or not. Empaths are highly sensitive. Empaths.
Yes, I agree.
Empaths are naturally giving, spiritually open, and good listeners. If you want heart, empaths have got it. Through thick and thin, these world-class nurturers will be there for you, but they can easily have their feelings hurt too. Empaths are often told that they are too sensitive and need to toughen up.
Yep, been there. Oh, I've been told that many, many times. I've been told to, to dry it up and everything. And, when I was younger, I actually thought that was a bad thing, was to have, all of the emotions and stuff. But no, I mean, how can somebody say that somebody else is too sensitive? I mean, because we all have emotions for a reason. For us to become a society void of heart, where will we be? I mean, that's to be able, I don't know. I just, I agree with what you're reading and everything. And I've been told that I was too sensitive before. And I'm just like, whatever. If that, you either love me or hate me. I don't care. If you think I'm too sensitive, then I don't know. I think I'm okay, I guess, but I agree with what you're reading.
I know, I agree with it too. I'm probably going to agree with everything on this list so far, but it's interesting to kind of go over it. It's pretty cool, especially when we're going over it with you. So this is awesome. Number two, empaths absorb other people's emotions. We talked about that. And empaths are highly attuned to other people's moods, good and bad. They feel everything, sometimes to an extreme. They take on negativity, such as anger or anxiety, which can be exhausting for them. If they are around peace and love, though, their bodies take these on and flourish.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I like the last part.
I agree. Oh yeah, I like that too. That was pretty cool though. Where did you find this one? I want to see it for myself too. Did you find this online?
I found this on.
That was really cool.
I'll go ahead and drop the link in, in Messenger or something. But yeah, it is.
Yeah, I do.
It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I agree. I mean, if I'm around, anger and anxiety, I tend to go that way, and then if I'm around peace and love, it's the same way. And but the flourish part is nice to know because it feels like you're accomplishing something,
Agreed. That's like you're saying earlier, because you're helping somebody, and with that you can grow. And you can never go wrong with, helping someone. So I like that, because when you say flourish, it makes me automatically think of a flower or something.
Right.
And that's beautiful. Absolutely.
Like that. Okay. Number 3, many empaths are introverted. Empaths become overwhelmed in crowds, like I was talking about, which can amplify their empathy. They tend to be introverted and prefer one-to-one contact or small groups. Even an empath is more extroverted. They may prefer to limit how much time they spend in a crowd or at a party. I swear to you, this is, I am not making this up, man. It's like I hit, it's like I wrote this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you said that. I was like, okay, come on now. Did you write this?
That crazy.
That is awesome. Well, I mean, because it's so true. It is so true. That's like pinpointed.
That really is. This is too much. But yeah, I like I said, I'll stick to what I said, because I really feel that way when I'm around, too many people. And that's the thing. Is everyone is different. So, you got good feelings, then you got bad feelings, and, you got anxiety feelings and sick feelings. And, when you're around all these people, you're absorbing all that stuff and just like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to feel? This is, too much. Empaths. This is the number 4. Empaths are highly intuitive. Empaths experience the world through their intuition. It is important for them to develop their intuition and listen to their gut feelings about people. This helps empaths find positive relationships and avoid energy vampires, like you said earlier.
Yep, absolutely.
Amazing.
Definitely, yeah. Well, because energy vampires, they're there. I mean, be it, an entity or human form. I mean, there are some people that are just absolute naysayers. And once they latch on to you, they may not even realize that's what they are. But, it can be extremely draining. And then their energy becomes toxic to the empath. And it's not good. It's not good. That's why you got to be selective on, and I hate to be ugly, because you want to help everybody. But, sometimes you got to use your feelers, as an empath, use your feelers and let them, like you're saying with your intuition and stuff, just follow your gut instinct on on things.
That's what I do. I don't, that's the only way I know, is to follow my gut.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. And sometimes I don't listen.
No, me too. I know.
See, I was just going to ask you, do you ever do that where you're like, man, I should have listened. I knew it.
Yes. And you're kicking yourself in the rear end, and you're like, oh my God, I knew better, but I still, you listen to your head instead of your gut instinct. Because you think sometimes, that's my case. Sometimes I think, and I'm like, I think before I do. And I'm like, man, you know what? If I really sat back and actually thought about it, I could have been doing something wiser. But that's okay, because I look at it as a lesson. Everything happens for a reason, and I know that sounds corny and all, but that's how it helps me to cope with it. So, yeah, definitely,
Right.
But those are some very valid keys that you're pinpointing on, Dave. I like that.
I didn't write this. This is amazing. It's like my intuition must have told me to go to this website. All right, so here we got 6 real quick. We're gonna rifle through because it's almost time to end the show. Okay, number 5. Empaths need alone time. As super responders, empaths find being around people can be draining, so they periodically need time alone to recharge. Even a brief escape prevents emotional overload. For example, empaths like to take their own cars when they go places so they can leave when they please.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Did you write this? I'm sure you didn't.
I think you wrote it, actually.
I know, right?
This is
we
hilarious.
both could have.
Man.
Exactly. Wow.
Number 6. Empaths can be overwhelmed in intimate relationships. Too much togetherness can be difficult for an empath, so they may avoid intimate relationships. Deep down, they are afraid of being engulfed and losing their identity. For empaths to be at ease in a relationship, the traditional paradigm for being a couple must be redefined. That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
I mean, who wants to be hurt, right? You know, I think when you find the right person, my wonderful penguin Deb, you know, I think it's great, you know, but you know, when you have to go through, you know, what you go through with people, it really does tend to be a suck. So, you know, that's all I can say about that. All right. 7, empaths are targets for energy vampires. An empath sensitivity makes them particularly easy marks for energy vampires, whose fear or rage can sap their energy and peace of mind. These vampires may do more than drain an empath's physical energy, especially dangerous ones such as narcissists, who lack empathy and are only concerned with themselves. Can empaths believe they're unworthy and unlovable? Other vampires include the victim, the chronic talker, the drama queen, and more. And you know what's funny? I hate to say this. I'm going to out myself a little bit, but I almost have some of those traits. And I'm wondering if it's because I'm taking on someone else's traits.
You know, being an empath, I mean, I look at myself, I don't know if you do this, Dave, but I almost see myself as a chameleon sometimes.
Exactly.
Because I reflect on, you know, whatever the person in front of me is. And, you know, it's almost like you're taking on that person's traits. And so, I mean, I don't think we have what necessarily like you're talking about. We're not narcissists or anything like that. But, you know, but when we're in front of somebody else, it's easy for us to pick up on their traits and almost start acting like them. And so, I mean, it's really weird how we can do that. And also, that's an interesting one right there, too, that you just read.
And really quick, I see a question that Joe was asking. I don't know if this is directed towards us, Joe, or if you're just saying it out loud. Can people's own insecureness or issues be interpreted as gut instinct? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just like anything else.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
oh yeah, of course.
I mean, you know, I have things in the closet, I guess, if you want to say it that way, that I know that I don't like to share, and I could take it out. I don't know. You know,
well, we all do, though. You know, I mean, you can't have. I mean, I can guarantee you, there's not one person on the planet that would say that they didn't. And if they did say that, then they're not going to be completely honest. We all have our closets that we keep closed, you know, and for our own reasons, you know, and that's okay.
Exactly. All right, really quick. Number 8, empaths become replenished in nature. The busyness of everyday life can be too much for an empath. The natural world nourishes and restores them. It helps them release their burdens, and they can take refuge in the presence of green wild things, the ocean, or other bodies of water. There you go.
Yep.
So
I agree with that 100%. Yes.
Yep, I know you do. Empaths have number 9. Empaths have highly tuned senses, and empaths' nerves can get frayed by noise, smells, or excessive talking. That happens to me once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's that's pretty interesting.
That is interesting.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Sheila.
You didn't. You didn't. I was just agreeing with you because I know exactly what you're saying.
That is an interesting one. Yeah, I'm definitely going to send this to you. Okay, last one. Number 10, empaths have huge hearts, but sometimes give too much. Empaths are big-hearted people and try to relieve the pain of others. A homeless person holding a cardboard "I'm hungry" sign at a busy intersection. A hurt child, a distraught friend. It's natural to want to reach out to these people and ease their pain, but empaths don't stop there. Instead, they take it on. Suddenly, they're the one feeling drained or upset when they felt fine before. As an empath myself, this is what the person is saying. That's a good one. I feel for people. I really do when I see stuff like that. And I tend to feel like I take it on as well.
Oh yeah. Do you find difficulty watching the 6 o'clock news?
I don't even.
I try
watch
to.
it.
Yeah, me either. It's so hard to watch because it gears so much towards all the negative things that's going on, and it hurts to watch it. So I don't watch a lot of the news because of that, and because we can't help. We want to help, but there's so much that's beyond our control, and it's frustrating.
It really is too much. Sheila, it is the end of the show. I cannot believe
what happened to the time. It's gone by so fast.
Freaking ridiculous. Hey, everyone listening still, thank you so much for coming out and listening to the show. And Sheila, one more time, can you please tell everyone how they can get in touch with you and where they can find you and your research?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone, I would love for you to come and find me at sheilarparker.wordpress.com. That's my paranormal site /blog. Please reach out to me. There is a link on there on my site that says Contact Sheila Renee Parker. Please reach out to me if you want to get in contact with me. I also have a novel, The Spirit Within, that's available on Amazon. You want a signed copy? Again, go back to Contact Sheila Renee Parker and, let me know, if you'd like to have a signed copy of my novel, and I'll be happy to, get that taken care of for you. I'm also on Facebook as Sheila Renee Parker, on Instagram, Sheila Renee Parker, and the same for Twitter, Sheila Renee Parker. And I would love for you guys to come out, and reach out to me, and, we can connect and everything. And I love the interaction. I love learning from everyone. And, I hope to be hearing from you guys soon, so please do. And thank you guys so much for all the questions and everything, all the comments. You guys have been fantastic. I love you guys.
Amazing. Thank you, Space Travelers, and thank you, Sheila, and I will be getting
Dave.
in touch with you soon, and we'll do this again very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah. You too.
All right. Once again, that's Sheila Renee Parker, Empath Extraordinaire. What a fantastic evening this has been. I'm so glad that everyone is able to come out tonight. Thank you all in the Spreaker chat. Thank you all in the Facebook chat and in the hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Tomorrow, remember to tune in to Elizabeth Anglin for Psychic Sundays on Spaced Out Radio's Cosmic Passport, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. And don't forget, you can always find me on Saturday nights, Spaced Out Radio, 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 midnight Eastern. Thank you all again for everybody. Next week, Miss Varla Ventura. Don't want to miss that. Everyone have a great night. Stay safe. And as always, stay spacey. Always. Hasta.
When the clocks ain't never stop, they barricade my face. When the clocks keep building up, they suffocate my brain. I built them to destroy myself. They're circling the prey. I push until I break. break of life is gonna ride away.